Hey gang, welcome to Two Blokes from Down Under. I'm Simon Guthrie. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ben Ennis. How are you, Benny?
Fantastic, Simon, and you?
Very well, thank you, mate. Good. Benny, Season 2 of Two Blokes from Down Under is brought to us by Ken Muston Automotive for all your motoring needs. Pop down and see the team for Isuzu, Ute, Ram trucks, MG, Jeep, Subaru and Mercedes-Benz. That's Ken Muston Automotive, 215 Benalla Road, Shepparton. And Benny, this episode's brought to us by Carpet Court Shepparton. For all your flooring needs, make sure you get down and see Mario and the team at 7946 Melbourne Road, Shepparton. That's Carpet Court Shepparton, where they do all the hard work to make your decisions easy. Benny, this one's going to be probably more up your alley, back in your old days.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but
you should know a bit more than me about this.
Local hack, mate. We've got someone here that was on the big stage.
We have. So let's get into it.
Yep.
Our next guest shot to stardom with his band Kids in the Kitchen in the early 80s and had success with 4 top 20 hits on the Australian music charts. He toured with some of Australia's biggest music names, and the band was nominated for 2 Countdown Australian Music Awards. After the band split, they reformed in 2016 and toured as the support act for Boy George's Culture Club Australian Tour. For the past 20 years, he's run his own music store in Shepparton and still performs on the drums in a local band current stand. Welcome to Two Blokes from Down Under, Bruce Curnow. How are you, Bruce?
Great. Thanks for having us, guys.
Welcome, Bruce. You had a look on your face then like you weren't sure about the list that he just read out, or did we get that wrong?
No, it's probably true.
Probably.
I was thinking about the top 20 hits. It's like, wow, is there that many?
There was.
Yeah.
Wikipedia doesn't lie, mate.
Yeah,
Google
suppose it doesn't. I knew there was a couple, but I didn't know there was 4.
There was 4, one got to 9, I reckon. And
gee, how rich do I feel now?
Yeah, superstar, mate.
Yeah.
That's why I said shot to stardom.
Stardom, yeah, in my own lunchbox.
Yeah, it's all good. So, Bruce, tell us, mate, where'd you grow up?
So, I'm a country boy. Grew up in Mildura, and I loved being a kid up there, and life was different back then. Grown up in the 60s.
Yep.
Showing my age now, aren't I? Yeah, look, Mildura was a great place for a kid. No one ever locked their house back in those days, and life was simple. Get on your push bike and ride down the river and go for a swim. No one wrapped you in cotton wool, you know.
Yeah.
It was just
run amok.
Rode motorbikes, back in those days. You could ride them on Crown land, and
yeah, true.
We'd push the motorbikes down about a K from our house to the bottom of, well, for those people in Mildura, the corner of 13th Street and Walnut Avenue. As soon as you crossed Walnut Avenue, there were salt lakes and grapevines. So we'd start the bike and ride down across the train line. You're in the salt flats. And you could ride around the train line and all the way to the speedway and the motorcycle club around there. And we'd just spend weekends doing that. And
did you break any land speed records?
Not on an XR75. But, my first motorbike when I was 10, thereabouts. And my old man ran the drive-in theatre.
Really?
And so school holidays had come round, and I'd take I had an old HD panel van, and we'd stick it in the back, then we'd go to work. So during the day when there was no one at the drive-in, I'd be scooting around on the jumps, going up and down around at the drive-in on the motorbike.
Nice.
Which was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a great time, the kids' sport and all of this.
Yep. So you got stuck into the sport, did you?
I played basketball from a very young age to an older age. I even played here for a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
But I played footy as well.
Yep.
I wasn't any good.
Just doing it with the mates.
Yeah, just doing it with the mates. I was okay at basketball.
Yep.
We were one of those floundering teams. We had one year where I think we came second. Don't think we won the premiership, but we had a good year.
Yep.
All our mates, and footy I played here and there. I was more interested in, Mildura being hot. Spent summers at the pool.
Yep.
And mucking around on the diving boards and stuff like that. So
yeah, fair enough.
Later on, I got a bit more serious with the diving, but
really,
yeah. So I idyllic childhood, happy childhood in Mildura.
Yeah.
So, fast forwarding to leaving Melbourne and stuff to come and live in the country, I think Shepparton here's a lot like Mildura.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, like where Mildura's, on the back of the fruit growing industry,
Yeah.
plus tourism. That's what Shepparton doesn't really have.
Mm.
People are trying to change that, and they'll be struggling, I think. But, to have the Murray River as it is up there is a huge draw
Yeah,
card.
that's right.
And they are set up infrastructure for that. I think Shepparton's actually a real lot like Mildura. So coming and living here was, finally a more relaxing
Yep.
kind of life.
Yep.
Come here and breed.
What year did you go to in secondary school?
I did year 12. Did year 11 at Mildura Tech School. So I heard your podcast that you were a tech school boy here. Or was that you?
I wasn't. I'm not a tech school. I'm a
No,
good
it must have
Catholic,
been.
mate.
No, it was
I went to
Tomsy.
Notre Dame.
No, it was
Yeah.
Tomsy, was it?
Tomsy went
Talking
to
about,
or
talking
man.
about tech school. So I went to the Mildura Tech School till year 11. Then I was very insulated, wanted to just stay in Mildura for the rest of my life and all of that sort of stuff. No horizons past the outskirts of town. And my mother, who had been to boarding school as a child, it was sort of, we went on holidays and we met a guy who was a master at the boarding house of Caulfield Grammar School, and I got on really famously with him and great friends. And then Mum was like, you could broaden your horizons. Would you like to go to boarding school? And I was like, I don't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
No idea. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but end of the day, it seemed like a good idea at the time. I had no idea, really. So, okay. So I went to Caulfield Grammar for 2 years. I did year 11 again and year 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not an academic. I didn't pass my year 12, but I had enough to go to RMIT after that.
Had you already started dabbling in music when you were in high school, though?
So my music started when I was about 7.
Oh, right. So we go way back, right?
So my brother was having piano lessons, and he apparently, I don't recall, but apparently struggled reading both hands.
Okay.
So Mum asked him, would he like to play guitar where you're only reading one? And I took his place, and I did piano lessons for 3 years, from age 7 till 10.
Yep.
And I did first year exams and got really good mark, and I could play two-hand, independent, and read. I was actually okay at it, put not a lot of effort into it.
Yep.
But I recall that all my mates were coming around waiting for me to finish practice, and out in the front of my skateboard, and I'm looking out the window from the piano going, I want to go and play skateboards. And that was way more interesting. And my piano teacher was very much the classically trained, teaching classical stuff, very much on the theory of things. And I didn't like the music much, and we're on the cusp of the countdown era, and nothing.
It's boring for young kids.
It was just boring.
They haven't really changed a whole lot in some of the schools either.
No, I just didn't like it. But Mum said in hindsight, you'll regret giving it up, and she was right eventually.
Yeah.
But I gave it up to go and ride motorbikes and skateboards and do all the kid stuff and have fun. And and then I was about 13, 14, and Mum was like, you're doing all these things, but would you like to play a musical instrument? Learn a musical instrument, like a guitar or something. And I had a mate who had a drum kit. And I'm like, I'd love to play drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Hitting
really
stuff.
loud.
Hitting stuff hard, yeah. See people on film clips, that looks like fun. So I was always attracted to the drums. And and Mum's eyes, you could hear them roll in her skull. I was like,
Of all the things you could choose.
yeah. And that was quickly shoved aside, and it was probably another 6 months, 12 months later, I don't know, asked me again. I said, yeah, I want to play drums. And he said, oh, well, maybe we'll get you some lessons and see how it goes then. And I was like, yeah. So the Sunraysia School of Music at the time, they had lessons there. And we went down, and Mum paid for 10 lessons, like a term, and start the lessons. And it was a group of about 8 or 9 or 10 kids, I can't remember exactly. And some of them were quite young. I was teens, I think about 13, 14, I think. And as soon as they wrote out the notation for the drums, I was like, just like the piano, okay, because I'd learnt all the theory at piano. I was like, oh, that's the right hand, that's the left hand. Right. And he'd put something in front of me and I'd just play it.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, practice that, I'll talk to these other guys.
Yeah.
And so out of my 30-minute lesson every week, I got about 30 seconds of his attention. And as soon as I could read it, which was straight away, I was pretty much off, and I felt like we were getting a bit boned on the lessons. Yeah. So I went into the shop and I ordered up every drum book that I could get my hands on. I went home and I just learnt myself. Yeah. The upshot was I could play it. The downshot was my technique sucks. Yeah. Okay. Probably to this day, but no guidance there. But I honestly believe I was only one lesson behind the guy had given the lessons. Yeah, okay. So the 10 lessons finished, and I used to just go into the shed and annoy the neighbours, I suppose, and play along, headphones on to all my favourite music, and I learnt all of the beats that I needed to know, and it was just me mucking around. Yep. A couple of times in my teens, I had a mate who played a bit of keyboard. So we got together a couple of times, met another guy who played guitar, and they came round once and we just jammed in the shed. I remember another one time, there was a piano teacher in Mildura and a friend of mine, and he was a guy from primary school. His name's David Headley, and he lives in Shepparton, about a kilometre from me. Oh, wow. Oh, really? Went round to his place, and he played bass, and my mate had the keyboard, and we had a jam all afternoon and laughed ourselves senseless about playing, and we just it was just fun. Yeah. No further ambitions to take it any further. We should start a band. Yep, and then never did anything about it. Yep. So there was that one time. And so I just did it as a bit of a fun thing to do. Come home from school, pissed off with something, and go and hit skins.
Yep. What year was this? How old?
15, 16. So what are we talking about? 1977, 8.
Yeah.
His music was really taken off then.
So who was the music to aspire to back then? Who was the big players back then?
I always say to people, I am the subject of Countdown, or the Countdown era. There's, in Mildura, we were, at that time, there's only 2 TV stations. It was probably the same here. ABC, Channel 6 here, up there was Channel 8. And TV came on at 4:30 after school. There might have been a couple of cartoons, and off at 10:30, epilogue, and play the national anthem. Goodbye, TV. That's how old I am.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Life was black and white.
Yeah.
And we had 3MA, the radio station there. Now, I've learnt a bit more about radio and things since then, but they obviously have advertisers, and they pander to them and play the shit that they want to hear. Yeah. And so they only ever played really old country stuff, and there was never anything aimed at teenagers. Yep. So Countdown came along and changed everything for everybody around Australia. Yep. History will show that. Yep. So I'm a product of Countdown, and what Molly gave us is what I sort of listened to and got into.
Yep.
I loved AC/DC and the kind of heavier stuff, so pop rock kind of stuff. Loved the Angels.
Yeah.
My brother was way more into music than I ever was. He and his mates used to go around and listen to records, and he has a far better record collection than I have. He was into some seriously good shit that, in hindsight you go, oh, wow, he was switched on, like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and cool shit.
Yep.
And I was, buying KTEL 20 fantastic hits and just rubbish.
Listening to John Farnham, Sadie and stuff.
Well, yeah, that was, yeah. And I was more interested in saving my money to spend on petrol for my motorbike, to be honest. I didn't really get into music much. And so, I can remember this a side story. My brother loving the Beatles and bought Beatles records, and he has all the first pressings of most albums and stuff. And he having a stand-up argument with my dad, because Dad said, oh, they're bloody haircut louts, that's just shit. The Beatles are nothing. And my brother getting so wound up and upset in tears, telling my old man, shouting at him, Beatles are the best band that ever has been and will be, and we'll be listening to yesterday, and Paul McCartney will be the greatest thing that ever happened in music. They'll be listening to them for the next 100 years.
He's pretty right, wasn't he? Yeah, on the money there.
Yeah.
What does he do for a job, your brother?
My brother, he's retired now.
What did he do?
He was a photographer.
Okay. Sounded like he needed to be in the music industry.
It just never panned out for him. He could play guitar.
Yeah.
He was okay.
He should have been like at a record company or something by the sound of it.
He was switched on for stuff.
Okay.
It was
interesting.
We never got on particularly as kids. But,
okay. Yep.
He was more switched on and more music orientated than I ever was.
Yeah. No other brothers or sisters?
No.
Yep.
Just an older brother.
Okay.
So you headed down to Melbourne to Caulfield Grammar.
So went to Caulfield Grammar.
Did you pack your drums and go take them with you?
No. But, schools like that, they have a good program for everything,
Yep.
And they had bands, and they had a brass band, they had a rock band and stuff, and I fancied myself as the rock band drummer, and I announced myself in the music room to the teacher one day, and I said that, I can play drums, I'd be interested in...
Yep.
And was told, we've got a drummer, thanks. Don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out.
There's no room for more than one drummer ever, is there?
Yeah, and I thought the guy could play okay. Yeah, I thought I could do better.
Yeah.
I was probably fooling myself, but,
Let's go.
I always looked at him with like, geez, I could do that. I could definitely do that. That's for me. So, nothing ever happened at Caulfield that way.
Okay.
Joined the swim team and that stuff. Played basketball.
Yep.
Played thirds footy. I was okay. I was full forward. Kicked goals.
Okay.
But I was only in it for a bit of mucking around fun.
Yeah.
They wanted to put me in the higher grades. I'm like, nah, too serious. Just there for fun.
So what did you do when you left Caulfield Grammar?
So I thought I
job?
wanted to be and was going to be a draftsman. I went to RMIT doing a tech course as a draftsman. My brother, by that stage, had gone off to uni, and he was doing RMIT photography course. And he was he ended up getting a place parents got him into Whitley College, which is a place on Royal Parade in Parkville, but it was just a Melbourne Uni residence.
Yeah.
And so he'd sort of moved on, and I came to RMIT and went to Whitley and followed in his footsteps, went there as a residence, and I stayed there for sort of 2.5 terms. And you're Bruce Curnow, you John's brother. Yeah. Crusher. So I ended up being called Little Crusher for a while there. He was a bit of a wild boy at college.
Okay.
So I had to make my own way there, and people would just automatically tarred me with his brush, but I probably wasn't like him much, but anyway, doesn't matter. So now the question you want to know is, what happened next? Which is...
Because at this stage, I'm
Still
wondering
trying to
how
work
the
out-
hell you got into music.
So,
know.
yeah.
I
The
understand. Suspense is building over here.
So
I'm like,
this is where it sort of starts.
Yeah,
okay.
So one of the guys who was at Whitley College was Craig Harnath from Kids in the Kitchen.
Okay.
And he was seriously into music and stuff. He'd left Whitley, but I became mates with other people at Whitley, and we'd go around to his place, and I got to meet him and know him. And it turns out his girlfriend, now wife, at the time, Fiona, her family were from Nangelock, and I knew her from Mildura,
okay.
Oh, okay.
a little town outside of Mildura.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, yeah, Fiona, how you going? And so I got to know Craig a bit, and, oh, we're going out to see a band. Oh, is that what you do? Okay, righto. And Craig and I just got on like a house on fire, and we were going around Melbourne on weekends seeing bands and stuff. And, going around to Craig's and listening to records. He was doing, of all things, genetics at Melbourne
Wow.
Uni. Yeah, he's learned. And smart cookie and academic, all of that. And he was writing for the uni paper and doing record reviews. So record companies were sending him records all the time, and he was writing reviews and to get free records. And I would go around with my blank tapes and tape a few that I liked, and never had any money for records.
Yeah.
He always had money for records. He had an amazing record collection. But so around there one day, and he opens up the Duke magazine. Here's the ad we've put in the Duke magazine. Wanted drummer.
So this band was already...
Sort of.
They were formed already.
So he was formed. He was playing in this band, yeah. So at that time, drummer. I can play drums. I lied. Allegedly, I can play drums. And he's like, really? Oh, cool. You got a drum kit? Yeah.
It's in
In Mildura? Yeah. Can you get it here? Suppose.
It's gold.
So I went home, rang the old man. Hey, Dad, you couldn't pack up my drum kit into a box and send it to me, could you? So Dad duly did that, stuck it on the train. I went down to the train station, picked it up, rang Craig. Hey, I got my kit. Cool. Come round next Sunday. So the first time we played, which was Kids in the Kitchen, was in his lounge room at 151 Chetwynd Street, North Melbourne.
Wow.
So they were already called Kids in the Kitchen,
No.
or they were just
No.
three other blokes?
So Craig was originally from Ballarat area,
Yeah.
and their family were chook farmers, and they moved to Mornington at some point. And Craig, I don't think he was in a band in Ballarat, but he was just moved down to Mornington, and he went to a guitar shop in Frankston and said, hey, I've just moved to this area. I'm a bass player looking for a band. And the bloke behind the counter went, yeah, cool. So, and a little voice beside him said, I'm looking for a bass player, mate. And Craig went, beauty, scruff of the neck. Chucked him in his car. We're going to your place then. And that was Greg Dorman, who was the first guitarist in the band. And they had a band, and they were playing Led Zeppelin covers and all sorts of rubbish stuff. And Scott was the singer. He was about 16 or something.
Yeah.
And so they had a guitarist. There was the three of them, and they had a drummer. And he was Craig and he didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And Craig was like, "Oh, I'm leaving this band." So next time, he was there for a while. I don't know how long that particular band was going, but Craig basically went there and he said to himself, I'm going to leave these guys, so I'll go to rehearsal and just tell them, stick it up their ass, I'm going.
Yeah.
Because he hated the drummer.
Yeah.
And when he got there, the drummer said, I'm leaving, this band's shit. And he was like, I can hang in here then.
Yeah.
Because he liked the guitarist and the singer.
He said, that's a shame, mate. See you later.
That's a shame. So that's how they came to be without a drummer. I don't know what they were called.
Yeah, okay. So
that time when I arrived with the drum kit, where Craig was in a share house, and those guys came home, and we were writing songs because we couldn't work out how to play other people's songs.
Okay.
We just, we weren't that good. Those guys could play all right. I wasn't. But it was a case of, we're just sort of writing songs. Didn't know we were writing songs. We were just playing stuff, jamming.
Okay.
And we wrote a song. Didn't know what to do in the middle bit. Let's just do some percussion stuff. So the pots and pans come out of the kitchen, and Craig's housemates come home. Oh, look at the boys in the kitchen. And someone said, kids in the kitchen. Oh, that'll do for a name for now till we think of something good. We never thought of anything good. So
that stuck.
It sort of time went by and we just never bothered to get another name. And when we first started playing, Scott hated it and actually put us in as... I think one of the first gigs was he put it in the gig guide as in the kitchen, dropped the kids part.
Yeah, righto.
But there were stupid names going around at the time. It was like Loaf of Milk was one that they liked, and I'm like, whatever. Yeah.
Band names are always interesting.
Oh, yeah. I love the one on the internet, band name generator. Google it and you can...
It'd be just jumbling words together,
just jumbling words, but some of them are great. So at that time, I had no ambitions that it would be a band, to be quite honest. It was just
jamming
on a weekend with my mates.
Yep.
And we outgrew the house pretty quick with the other people.
Yep.
And we were going to the Dane Centre in Brunswick on a Sunday for 5 hours in the afternoon and jamming and having a laugh and... Cool. We're writing songs. We didn't know we were writing songs. It was just, let's play this song, and they turned into songs.
Yep.
And so it was sort of the end of the year coming up, and I thought, right, end of the year, I'm shooting home to Mildura, and that's that.
You thought you were moving home?
Don't know about moving. I just thought I'd never had any aspirations about going and playing gigs.
Yep.
It was just... This is something I do on a weekend for a bit of fun.
So how old are you now at this point?
19.
Okay.
Probably late 18, 19.
Yep.
And they sort of recruited a keyboard player because he owned a keyboard. Couldn't really play it. But...
You got a bloke who couldn't play a keyboard, bloke who can't play drums.
Yeah.
Yeah,
are the other guys all right in this band? Or?
Look, Craig was always a great bass player, and the guitarist was very good, and Scott was okay. We all got better.
Yeah. He keeps telling us he can't play drums, but we know he can.
He can.
So you thought you were going to Mildura, but...
So I just thought at the end of the year, I'll be going home for the summer.
Yep.
I'll be back
for
the first term next year, whatever. And it was like, we should do a gig. And I'm like, say what? What? A what? I've seen bands play. This ain't...
Yeah.
I can get a gig. I'm like, really? Okay. So went on first at the Champion Hotel in Brunswick, which it's now called the Metropole or something. Well, it was last time I looked. Real dodgy place in town. And we sort of told all our mates from college that we're playing this gig, and they're like, oh, yeah, cool. This is back when people went to gigs.
Yeah, live gigs everywhere back then.
Live gigs every night of the week.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been like a Friday night or something. And of course, we were just enthusiastic young kids. We thought we invented music. So we, in there, just had a blast playing. All our mates were there and danced. And I guess we were kind of lucky that enthusiasm drove it. And so we finished our set. We had 10 songs, I think it was. Might have been 9. We only had to play for half an hour, so that was cool. And all our mates danced and were very complimentary, and that was fun. Just had a great time.
Yep.
And we finished. The next band came on. They played one song and cleared the room. All our friends just pissed off. They just left. And the owner of the venue said, "Hey, boys, come back Friday week and you can headline." I was like, "Oh, okay."
What are we playing? What are we playing? Originals? We playing covers?
Originals.
All originals.
All originals. All 10 songs we had.
Not even
Not one cover.
No, we couldn't learn us. They'd have to learn that.
That's amazing.
We're just making up stuff that sounded good to us. Most of it doesn't make any musical sense, but we thought it sounded good. So
I can kind of see that now when I look back at the music that kids in the kitchen had. Like it's different.
yeah, look, Craig, as I said, had a great record collection and was, really enjoying funk stuff.
Yeah.
Earth, Wind and Fire and really funky stuff. And he kind of forced those
Sounds,
influences onto the other guys. And we became known as this funk band playing dance music. At that time, I call it swamp music. There was real dark, dingy, hangover from the 70s rock, grungy stuff. And there was lots of bands around Melbourne doing that. And we come out with our funny haircuts, dancing and smiling, having a ball, and didn't give a shit about what anyone was doing. We were just having fun to our mates from college.
So who's writing the songs?
Oh, we're just sitting in a room writing it all together. Oh, I got an idea. Well, we'd steal it out of that song and steal a bit out of that song and put it together.
No
and
real
it's a new
structure
song.
or ideas, just...
Look, Greg Dorman, the guitarist, talented boy, he had lots of good ideas and can credit him with a lot of stuff. Craig pushed us all around. He was a driving force behind it. And
There always needs to be one that...
There always needs to be one.
Pushes a bit harder than the others and the others follow.
Of course, someone's got to lead.
Every band.
So Craig was sort of driving in the driver's seat and pushing it around, and his influence of playing funky stuff. So we're playing our second gig. All our mates from college turn up again. Oh, that's nice of them to come again. And those guys, they were in the back of the room the other time too, and they're here again, and they're up the front dancing and singing along to our song. That's weird. And then it's like,
this is so good.
All our friends just had a ball, and some of these other people. And then, we should play another. We had such a ball playing these this gig, and so someone said, I reckon I can get us on at the Jump Club in Collingwood, which is a real venue, not just some corner pub. So, I reckon we can get a gig at, I think it was like a Wednesday or a Tuesday, on first, no one there. So we got this gig at a real venue. Gets advertised. All our mates from college, there they are again.
I know who's getting the credit.
And those guys, we don't know these guys, but they're coming back. And we played our set. Everyone danced. Everyone had a great time. We pissed ourselves laughing, had a great time. And the venue said, the next band came on, emptied the room. The venue said, you guys should come back and play second on Thursday in 2 weeks.
Up the ladder.
And that next gig, Blake says, you guys got a manager? I'm a manager. I also do the bookings for, at that time was Macy's in South Yarra. I can get you on there playing on a Friday or a Saturday, a serious gig, supporting someone.
Whoever was big
Whoever
then.
was big. I think we played with the Spaniards, who were a band around Melbourne that were doing okay. And I think we even supported Real Life there once. They were just kicking off with stuff. And so, every gig we played led to another one, and suddenly,
Are we getting paid?
nah,
Not really. Just
we
just
might
for
have got
fun.
$50 or something, but
Yeah. Okay.
and that
You were
was
having a
that
ball,
was
so it didn't
having
matter.
a ball, didn't care. That money was probably paying for the Dane rehearsal spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a lot of rehearsals we did at RMIT because as a student I got access to a room.
Yep.
So we were the corner of Swanson Street and what's that down there? Latrobe, right down the end there, opposite the library. One of the rooms upstairs there, a few
Yep.
times. But we're just putting the money, whatever it was.
Before we go any further, I'm really interested how you wrote these songs. So I listened to an interview the other week with Chris Stapleton, country singer, and his version of how he writes a song. He gets into a room with a couple of his mates, no different to what you guys were. They would play a tune. Someone would have an idea, and then they would just build on it and build on it and build on it. Was that the same from you guys?
Pretty
or?
much the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually starts with a bit of a melody of some description or a few chords, doesn't it? Like, and then
Well, a few chords, basically
Yeah.
few chords and an idea on a bit of a riff
Yep.
on the guitar maybe, or Craig would have a few bass riffs because the way he was playing was real melodic
yeah,
as a bass player. It wasn't just four on the floor stuff. He was more
Yep.
melodic and slapper,
Yeah.
slap bass, popping and all that sort of stuff. And we just throw ideas and I'd just jump on a groove and jam and
yep,
it was just
Just
jamming.
built
And keyboard player would be trying to find chords to, and then Scott would have his recording Walkman sitting in the room, and he'd sit in the corner and mumble away in the
Yeah.
corner, and then I got a couple of ideas, and he would just mumble crap,
yeah,
but try and hit notes to make melody.
yeah,
And then at the end of the day, he'd record it, and he'd come back next week. Got a few ideas, and he'd had a few words, and
yep,
a lot of the songs, we'd have the paper open, and it'd be just reading words, anything. Some of our songs were, like I remember one of them was called Today's Law List, which the Sun Herald used to have the law list on page 8, and just headline stuff. We'd just be singing those, and it would just be syllables he'd be trying to mouth, and then he'd go away, come back, and he'd have a bit of a melody idea because we'd played the song, and he'd be sitting there with his headphones on, and they'd come back, and I never really got into the lyrics side of things. It was all him or the melody side. Sometimes he'd come back, I can't get this one. Sometimes he'd have an idea, and Craig would go, that's shit, come back with something better. And he always would. So credit Scott, he'd have the melodies down, and he'd made up lots of his lyrics, and when you find out what the song was about, you go, really? But, in hindsight now, I know what most of it's all about. And,
okay,
but he felt a lot of pressure at the time to perform and write and
okay,
a lot of that sort of stuff.
He felt pressure. You didn't care because you were just slapping
I
drums.
don't care. Correct. Change in moods about his relationship with his father, and his father used to beat him and that sort of stuff, allegedly. But yeah, we were just having fun, jamming, and this sounded good playing it this way, and that became the songs, and we'd go and play. Our friends danced. It came next time, they danced again. And then you need a manager. Suddenly, here's a record deal. Mushroom want to talk to us.
So this is how long are we talking from?
A few months.
A few months of gigging,
Really?
gigging around Melbourne.
Wouldn't have been maybe 5 gigs
So you took on this manager dude that had the connections
on a handshake deal.
Yep,
Probably played a couple of gigs with him,
yep.
Did he get 10% of your $50?
something like that.
He probably took the whole 50 as a manager.
Yeah.
And there's a young kid that
That's
didn't
the
want
next
money.
one.
Yeah.
The next one took it all.
Yeah. There'll be stories, don't worry.
Yeah, everything.
Yep.
Every bad management story you've ever heard,
they're all out there.
we've got that story too.
Okay, we'll get through them.
So 5 gigs in, playing all originals,
Yep.
and Mushroom Records come to you.
Yep. the vibe was, they had their scouts. The vibe was out. There's this dance band kicking ass and having a ball. And it's like, we're still trying to learn to play.
Yeah.
But we played our songs okay.
Yeah. So how'd that go down? Did they approach the whole band or just the manager, or how did it all take place from memory?
From memory, yeah. Look, they wanted to talk to us, and we were like, "Oh, we can't play yet. Even maybe we shouldn't be thinking about this." So suddenly, there's this opportunity of a career out of this.
Yeah.
Like, what? Just inconceivable stuff. Just
and
crazy
none of you's been around long enough to really know much either. As far as the industry is concerned.
Oh, we thought we knew everything, but
yeah, okay.
But Craig, who switched on for everything, he was like, "No, we're right. We'll get a, we'll sit back and see who else offers something,
Yeah, okay.
And in the end, we didn't sign to Mushroom. We signed to White Label Records, and that was purely at the time because Hunters and Collectors were on White Label, but it's still Mushroom.
Yeah.
But we thought it'd be cool to be on the same label as them.
Yep.
And I remember going into Mushroom when we signed, and the phone rang, and it was EMI looking to speak to someone from the band. And I remember Gadinsky saying, "Sorry, mate, we just signed him. Have fun, bye." Hanging up on him. So we didn't really shop ourselves around much, and we got a shit deal.
Yeah. How was the ambition about then? You were just still shaking your head going along for the ride, were you? Not sure what was really happening?
Pretty much. I mean, suddenly we're going to Sydney to record. Here's your engineer, here's your record producer, and set your kid up over there.
So would I be guessing right that you ditched school about now, or were you at your RMIT?
Yeah, I ditched by then, yeah.
This when you started gigging, you were like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Where were you living?
So one of my mates from Whitley College was like, I'm moving out. I've got, I think it was his ex-girlfriend and she was a nurse, and two of her friends. So I moved into a share house with 3 nurses and Woody.
Yeah.
And, sort of paying me rent, scratching around.
I was going to say, what were you doing for a little bit of work?
Nothing.
Okay, we're going to skip that conversation.
Oh, I wasn't
It's all allegedly.
I know, there's something allegedly going on in the background here.
Allegedly.
Well, Mum was paying me rent. Mum and Dad were very good to me, of course. For a little while there, Scott was working for his dad out at he lived out at Croydon. I don't know how he came from Croydon to Frankston to that stuff, but his parents were living at Croydon, and his old man was a bit of a rapscallion, was building fences, piling fences around the burbs that were still growing out there. And so I went and worked for them for a while, building fences, getting up at early times, like 7 a.m, and starting at 7. Yeah. Muso to the core now. I don't get out of bed before 8.
Oh, that's funny.
So I was building fences and swinging the hammer.
You got by. So no school, living with some others, and then now we're signing up and heading to Sydney to record.
So we go to Sydney to Festival Records and recorded, and our producer was Ricky Fattar, and the engineer was How'd
you get in?
No, I'm scratching my head here. Oh, what was his name? Memory's not that good. It'll be on there.
He looks like Jesus.
Yeah.
You're an idiot, Ben.
Anyway, we. That's when I first found out how bad a drummer I was.
So did you know how a studio worked and everything then?
Not a clue.
Nothing.
So before we actually signed, Mushroom paid for us to go into Richmond Recorders to do a demo. And we played a demo and did the all-nighter, the after-hours thing with Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson went on to be instrumental in the nationalising of Triple J.
Okay.
So quite big in the radio thing. He was great, and taught us a few things. And I first time worked into a studio. Look at all the buttons. This is just science fiction here. How's this work? And I was fascinated with all of that stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, we did a demo in Richmond Recorders, and Scott lost the plot going in. He was panicking about it too.
Oh, really?
And Craig was pretty cool. The guitarist was pretty cool, but yeah, enthusiasm fixes everything, and we just jammed it out, and it came out. It was all right.
So it was a planned album, the first recording in Sydney?
No, it was a single. So
Okay.
we went up there just to do a single.
Yep.
And we always had it very clear in our head that Change in Mood would be the first single
Okay.
because we liked it
Yep.
and thought it would be.
Yep.
And it's terrible. The recording is full of mistakes, but enthusiasm fixes everything.
You're saying looking back from now, or or at the time you didn't think that?
Tempo, what's that? Doesn't matter. Enthusiasm
Hey,
fixes that.
You write the song, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So, the start of Change in Mood, we had that idea of have the drum machine and the old Roland SH-101 playing that part. So playing along with that, and I had that groove behind it. So that's that. And as soon as we get to this point, turn it off, and then we're away.
Yep.
Gallop off.
Changed.
That's where it changed. And through the whole song, it gets faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
We just thought it was cool.
Like
In retrospect, that wasn't very cool because, later on you find out if you want to put a delay on things, it's got to kind of be in time.
Yeah.
And so enthusiastic about
for and
just
against on that
playing
one.
for and against. And it was it was charming in the way it was. And suddenly,
Yep.
at the time, we were lucky because Mushroom put it out. It was a time where Mushroom and record companies were giving everybody a go.
Yep.
And they'd give it to radio stations and they would play it.
Yep.
And you'd go and get a gig and people would go and pay money to see you.
Yep.
If you got onto Countdown, lots of people would come and see you.
Yep.
Mushroom made sure that Meldrum heard it. Meldrum liked it.
Yep. Momentum.
It had just snowballed. Suddenly we're on Countdown,
How'd that go for you?
I'm a teenager watching Countdown all my life, and then suddenly I'm there, and at one point hosting, I look like a rabbit in the headlights.
As the kid with no ambition ends up on Countdown.
This is just
Crazy.
stupid stuff.
Very short period of time too, isn't it? This whole thing's just exploded.
Yeah, crazy.
That's mad.
Just madness. Like we were lucky. We weren't good. The songs were okay.
Yeah, but you hit a spot with people.
We just
you must
hit
have
a
been
spot.
half decent. Oh, Molly liked it.
Yeah.
How was Molly?
He was a champion for us, actually.
Yep.
And he wanted to produce, when he heard the demos and stuff, he wanted to produce the song Something That You Said. And Julie did.
Yep.
And he had ideas for strings and choirs and all that sort of bullshit. And it went on forever. And then it got edited down. The original version was about 5 minutes long.
Okay.
And much better crafted song. And someone just went, it's too long for radio.
Yeah.
Snip, snip, bang.
Yep.
And so it was great live because we had a different version live, and
That's cool.
it was really cool. And do you think any of us can remember how that went now?
Yeah.
We just play the single version now, but I don't know if Craig kept a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But I don't even know whether he kept that, whether we've got the original version of that somewhere. But it was a way cooler song with extra bits in it. It sort of had like 2 middle eights and another chorus. And
Yep.
I'm pretty gobsmacked here.
I know this whole thing's
5 gigs, original
ish,
songs.
yeah.
We get signed by a label.
Yep. Straight to Sydney.
Then we go and do a demo. Then we go to Sydney doing demo.
To
record.
Single, yeah.
And
And then all of a sudden we're on Countdown.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking
couldn't-
like a space of
You
6
couldn't
months?
make this shit up.
No.
Yeah. Are we talking like 6 months?
Yeah.
Holy
Probably
shit.
is.
That's unreal.
So when you go on a Countdown for the first time and they say your manager from the pub,
Is this the same manager? Or did you get someone else along the way? I'm just going to...
did Mushroom
the very
push it?
early would have been the same manager.
Okay. Yeah, he got a good gig too by the sound of it. Like,
Oh,
he jumped on at
yeah.
the right time.
Well, yeah, he Terry was great, but he didn't handle the big stuff
Okay.
particularly well. And
Yep.
yeah.
So you guys get a phone call to say, "Hey, I've booked you on Countdown. We're going to
Well,
Countdown."
Mushroom, yeah.
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 How is that?
It's like, holy shit, we've hit the big time now. Scratching our heads some more. It's like,
Yeah.
Jesus. You know, it was just bizarre.
Was it a live gig?
So Countdown, you know, they get their crowd in, and
Yeah.
there's a rehearsal beforehand, and it's
Yeah.
basically you're miming to your track.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a giant PA in there, and
Yep.
they pump it, and the crowd screams, and
Yep.
they've got a couple of mics on the crowd, and
So you could be a little bit more relaxed.
So you're not actually playing.
no,
You're playing along with
miming along.
it. Yeah.
How do you mime drums?
So they had a drum kit that was just filled up with screwed up paper, just full, and then they put the skins back on.
Yeah.
And the cymbals were basically fiberglass,
So just make no
but
noise.
they're nice and shiny on the top, and
That's unreal.
sort of a greeny colour, but under the lights that looks like
Why did they do
brass.
that? Why wouldn't they let you play live?
I don't think anyone would then, would they?
Nah,
It's too risky.
it was filmed as a live 1 hour block to get everybody's stage gear on and off, mic things up, get sounds, pull all of the sounds and stuff. Too hard. And the reality was, you want to try and sound like your record, and playing live it was pretty hard back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to sound just like your record. So
Um,
everyone mimed.
did you get any media training before you
Nope.
went on?
No.
So did you get interviewed your first time? Like, I saw one interview of you, and you were a little nervous and didn't really say a lot. It's like Mushroom didn't come to you and say, "Hey boys, we've
it's
got it.
just
This
like,
is how we do things."
Go here, sit in the chair. Suddenly, Meldrum's talking to us, or the Donny Sutherland one's a classic. From,
think that's
from
what I
Sounds
listened
in Sydney. It's a shock. A few interviews here and there, and
But now I understand why. Like, I mean, we're 6 months in here. We're just
we're
shocked
teenagers. Scott was 17.
Thrown under the
Wow.
bus. He
Wait.
was still 17.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
So he had a lot of pressure on him, obviously, back then too.
Wow.
we had no idea what we were doing. We're just making shit up as we went along and going for the ride. You know, phone rings, go and play there. You know, okay.
How long till you went back to the recording studio?
Well, it was. We came back from the recording. We might have done a gig or two. I don't know, just acting like a bum around Melbourne, enjoying myself. And
Listening to yourself on the radio?
well, Mushroom put us on a support with the Models.
Yep.
And so here's an East Coast tour, boys. You're on tour now.
They would have been huge then too.
It's a little, just a little before that.
Hadn't quite taken
Around
off.
Melbourne, and we'd played with them a few times.
Yep.
And then they got James Freud in, and they put out a couple of songs then, and it was starting to take off for
Yep.
them. So they were a pretty big band,
Yep.
and they'd been around for quite a while by this stage.
Yep.
And so organised a tour manager and a Tarago bus and drive to Brisbane. Here's your first gig. You're staying at this place. Mushroom sort of organised that stuff.
Yep.
And we're in the Tarago for 19 hours straight.
But
Five smelly boys and
How do you gear get there?
a truck.
They took that. They took care of that. All that. You just had
Yeah.
to
So
get there.
pretty much, you know, Mushroom sort of said, "Oh, guys, you know, advance you some money because you probably need some gear, right?" My first drum kit was, student kit, Maxwin by Pearl, shit cymbals and shit stuff. I had no money to buy anything better, and Mushroom advanced us some money, and we went and bought some real good gear. And so they were sort of like, go to Music Junction, talk to Miles Jackson, and the guy who owned that business, Palmy, what a saint. He let bands come in on a phone call from Gudinski and take whatever they want on the tick.
Yep.
And so we just paid it off. Miles Jackson, fast forwarding to now, is the CEO of Cole Clark Guitars.
Oh, wow.
And I deal with him a lot. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, known him for a long time. And I bought my first pro kit and a bunch of cymbals, and I didn't have any cases or anything, so they were living in the boxes, and our manager had got us a couple of roadies, and so they were putting it in the truck with the PA and everything in the cardboard boxes. And one of those roadies rolled the truck on the way to Brisbane.
Oh,
Not Brisbane, on the way to Geelong. Apparently the wind blew it over
Oh, wow.
after a gig we'd played at
Yeah.
Geelong or something. The drum kit survived because they'd packed it so well and were careful with it. Anyway, we had the truck, and the truck went
Yep.
up. Probably put our gear with in the truck with all of the model stuff, and
Yep. So you're off on tour.
we're off on tour.
How long for?
I don't know. I can't remember that.
Nah, roughly. We're talking weeks or months.
Probably 4 weeks.
Okay.
Go to Brisbane.
Yep.
Play around Brisbane. Play in the Gold Coast. A few gigs around there. Then drive to Sydney. Play
Yep.
around Sydney.
We talking pubs and clubs, or we talking bigger?
Pubs and clubs.
Yep.
Supporting them.
Yep.
And we had a great time playing with them.
Yeah.
Just mucking around. We went to SeaWorld on one afternoon, and
Yep.
those great guys. And I've got lots of photos.
Yeah.
The old Instamatic
Yeah, nice.
of those. There, some of them are hilarious. You probably see them on my Facebook page. But yeah, that was great times, good fun, and gig after gig. And then I remember we were driving in the Tarago to Brisbane, and we had searching for radio stations, something to listen to, and we pulled up on one. And then we heard our song played on the radio.
Yeah.
And we pulled over and we're dancing around on the side of the road in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
And thought that...
Just excited.
Wow,
That's the first time you heard it.
First time we heard our song
And
played
you're all
on the radio.
together.
We're all together in the Tarago
On tour.
on tour.
That's mad.
It's pretty cool.
So...
Yeah, can't comprehend it.
And so, there was probably 10 or so gigs, come back to Melbourne. Suddenly we're getting radio airplay down there, going on Countdown, and there's gigs, and there's playing more gigs. You should get to Sydney, so, run a tour chasing this single.
Yep. Just all off the back of one single.
Yep. Doing some good supports. And then it's like, boys, you better get in the studio. We need an album. Need it now.
Yeah.
So
Pressure was on then.
pressure was on. We need an album.
Did
we
you
need it now.
Did you have enough songs?
Had 10.
Ted 10. How many's on the album? 10?
I don't
Don't
know.
know.
About 10?
That's what you
Probably the
started
same,
with.
probably the same first 10.
Yes. And we go into the studio, and I remember having a great time. It's just the funnest time being in the studio.
Yeah.
After the first single, I'd realised my drumming prowess was shit. So we got a drum machine in. Our second single was always going to be Something You Said, and then Mushroom organised, submitted songs to producers and stuff, and we got David Kirschenbaum out of America. And what Mushroom were doing was they'd hire a producer, and they'd come over and do 6 bands over a 6-month period. They'd pay them a shitload of money, and then they'd go piss off.
Yeah.
But Kirschenbaum wanted to do one of our other songs because he really liked it, and that was Bitter Desire.
Yeah.
And the song was only just written. It hadn't really had the pub test.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was a little bit weaker, but everyone likes it.
Yeah.
And we got to the studio, and the guitar part, we're putting it together, and the guitarist was still working out a guitar part, and he stole Craig's bass part.
Oh.
I remember this clearly. So we're in the studio, and Craig's writing a bass part.
On the spot.
In
on
the
spot,
studio?
in the studio, trying to what works for this, because what I had in mind doesn't work because he stole my part.
Yeah.
And so that was the second single, and we had to do B-sides as well.
Yeah.
And the B-sides are all just like, just hit record, we'll just have a bit of a jam, and all this. It didn't care
No one
what
gives
the
a shit.
B-sides. No one gives a shit.
No.
So there's a whole bunch of B-sides out that were just like, roll the tape, see what happens. Yeah, that'll do.
Scott would have been mumbling his way through the whole thing.
Yep. I remember we had a crack at doing
No
like
words.
a heavy rock song, and we called it Hard, and he's mumbling away about being hard, just stuff.
I'm going to go searching for some of this one.
They were hilarious, and we were just pissing ourselves laughing about the B-sides.
Well,
But we spent time doing the other songs, and
yep.
So how does it actually work? Like you've recorded the first song, your first single. You go and record another single. Do you then record the whole album, or
we started to put the album together from the second recording, and I get a bit vague here. Others will have better recollections than I, but we put down sort of 4 or 5 tracks on the drum machine, and parts started to get put together, and then we focused on one so we could put it out and then keep recording. Because it takes a few weeks for them to get the test pressing, and
I'm a bit naive here. Why a drum machine? So you would play.
They're in time. You only have to punch the information in once.
So you would actually. You would play it, and then you would get those beats and everything.
At the time, drum machines were in their infancy, but Lynn Drum put out a drum machine, and you will have heard most of the Prince albums of that time were that drum machine, those sounds, and they were really fantastic, great sounds. And we got one, and I learned to program it, and I basically programmed the way I would play the song.
Yeah.
We'd go to the studio, plug in all the stuff, play, zit, it's down.
Yeah.
The drums are done. And you'd probably play real cymbals over the top of it later.
Yeah.
Whereas to sit there, get the drum sounds, set up the kit, tune the kit, sit there, boom, 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 get a bass drum sound. You're burning up heaps of time, although there was money at the time. And the studios were expensive then. To get the sound of every drum and
to sound the same every time you hit it.
Because
that was the sound that you guys had.
You'd spend a day pulling a drum sound, and so then you got to play it right. Back to me not being a great drummer.
Personally, I'm going to say that it's got nothing to do with his drumming. It's got to do with the sound that they were after.
The sound that it produces.
That too.
Because at that period of time, like what are we talking, Duran Duran?
Yeah, they came out and stole our stuff.
Stole your stuff?
Well,
yeah, we'll say that. That sounds good.
They came out, and we always thought we wanted to be like Simple Minds, but we were way more like Duran Duran.
Yeah. Yeah, but that sound was what they were after, you know what I mean?
The 80s sound, very clean.
Yeah.
So we could put down the drum track for the song in the length of the song. And instead of a day getting a drum track. So it was
So what would you do in the studio?
Oh, once I got the drum tracks down, drink piss and tell jokes. Hang shit on
everyone
the others. Distract everyone else, yeah.
Oh, well.
And watch how they put all these buttons together. And
Yeah. It would have been a few months recording an album there.
there was times where it went on and on and on and on, and sometimes, I wouldn't bother going in.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money getting it right.
Or the record company?
Where's this money coming from?
The record company's paying. That album cost a lot of money.
Really?
Okay.
I believe it was in the order of, for the whole album, around 280 grand.
Okay. So that's everything printed.
280 grand.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a shit ton of money.
It is.
They invested in us.
That's not is that including marketing and everything, or is that just
just
the actual recording and printing?
Cost of the album. So that's
Printing as well, or no print?
I don't think that's printing the album, but
that's just making it, sitting in the studio and all that sort of stuff.
Cost of making the album.
Whoa!
So
I can't fathom that.
That's a shit ton of money.
Huge amount of time.
But they invest. That's what record companies were doing. They would invest into new talent.
Put that into perspective. In the 80s, you could buy a house for 20 grand.
Oh,
Even if it was 50, it's still...
yeah. Terrace house in Carlton for about 120 grand, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm talking. So I was thinking more country, but
I was thinking community street.
Yeah, right.
120 grand. That's still a house. It's
And it
two
was
and
a
a half
house.
houses.
It was house money.
Yeah.
And what we didn't realise was we were spending our money.
Yeah.
You spend it, but you hadn't spent it.
Correct.
Yeah.
If it failed, then we never paid them back and they lost.
Yeah.
They got their money back.
Mm.
But on the strength of a single that went to number 9 nationally,
Yeah.
whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
And we were really clear on what we wanted to do by this stage and how we wanted to do it.
Okay.
We got pushed around a little bit by producers, but we didn't. We pushed back. We got what we wanted and how we wanted it, and we wanted we've wanted to get it mixed in London because better studios, better gear. So Craig flew to London with the tapes once it was all down and mixed it over a couple of weeks in London, and that cost a bomb.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Worth it.
was probably worth it in the end. And while he was there, they got some really good percussion players to play some stuff to include on it. Lots of great things happen when you're recording.
Yeah.
One of my favourite memories, most of the stuff was done at AAV in Melbourne and Platinum Studios. AAV became Metropolis Audio, and I ended up working there later on. But I remember the record company come to check on us, and one of the A&R people saying, "Oh, Rod Stewart's playing at the Glass House in Melbourne, which was the old Olympic pool. They're playing there tonight. Does anyone want to go?" It's like, Rod Stewart, huh? Yeah, okay. Sure. Free tickets to go to see Rod Stewart. And seeing a real pro at his job was like, oh, shit. I got to go out the back later on. Didn't meet Rod, but we met the horn section. Were amazing.
Yep.
And so someone had a great idea. Oh, you want to come and play horns on our tracks? It's like the horn section that played on Bit of Desire were guys from around Melbourne who played in the ABC show band and stuff, and were good players, but just not funky.
Yeah.
We wanted Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
They played ABC show band.
Yeah.
And so you listen to the horns on Bit of Desire, and they and they came. These guys said, "Yeah, we'll play it." And I think it was like, "Yeah, we'll come down, guys." These 3 guys, and it's like, "We'll do it for $1,000 and a big bag of weed," and and so they come down and we played the tracks, and they just went, yeah, whisper,
Yeah.
roll a tape, bang. You listen to those funky staccato notes, just smacking it,
Yeah.
and like
That might have been, was that before or after the bag of
I was
weed?
going to say with their high
During.
kites,
Yeah, during.
during, yeah, most of the experience of people smoking weed that come to Australia and they get a bag, our out stuff here that was always really strong and yeah, slow up, boys.
Baked them.
Just knock them out. Yeah, anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to hear more of those stories, but before we get into those stories, Season 2 of Two Blokes from Down Under is brought to us by Ken Muston Automotive. For all your motoring needs, pop down and see the team for Isuzu Ute, Ram Trucks, MG, Jeep, Subaru, Mercedes-Benz. That's Ken Muston Automotive, 215 Benalla Road, Shepparton. And this episode's brought to us by Carpet Court Shepparton for all your flooring needs. Make sure you get down and see Mario and the team at 7946 Melbourne Road, Shepparton. That's Carpet Court Shepparton, where they do all the hard work to make your decisions easy. All right, well, let's get into some of these stories because I want to hear...
Yeah.
You see a few movies and stuff about...
Oh, we're talking drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
It's allegedly, okay?
Allegedly.
Everything's allegedly.
Allegedly, yep.
So
It never happened. I wasn't there, officer.
when you first go on tour with some big names, or did you ever headline a tour yourselves?
Yeah, look, after the album came up, we were touring under our own steam.
Yeah.
and doing shows up and down the East Coast. And basically, we flogged the album Shine up and down that East Coast to death for a couple of years. And, went to Perth. At that time, I remember we went to Perth on our own steam. We went once before, and there was a couple of supports that the record company lined up. We supported In Excess at the entertainment centre once there.
Wow.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
They were getting pretty big at that time. We played a few gigs, our first trip there, and then it was sort of like a whole week. And then we went back a second time for a whole week, and our album was on the top of the charts at that time. And at the time, I was told we took more out of the town than any other band had done before. Any other Melbourne band going there.
Yeah.
And I remember we got 10 grand out of one gig, because at that time people were paying at the door to hear music. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And we were getting like $3 out of $4 for a ticket at the door. So guarantee of like 2 grand, and anything above 2 grand on the $4 tickets or whatever. And we had like 1,500 people on this suburban Perth venue. I think the place was called The Generator. And like, we took more than 10 grand in a gig. Holy shit, we've made it now. At this whole time, we weren't pocketing any of this money. It was going into the bank account, and we paid ourselves a weekly wage.
Okay. Whose idea was that?
I think it was just an agreement that we put all the money in the bank, and when we're not on the road, we can keep
he's still
paying our
wage.
bills.
Yeah.
So we were paying ourselves $200 a week, which was just scratch.
Yeah.
Really, food and board, that was about it. And after that Perth tour, I think we went to $250. So we weren't making money.
Yeah.
But
and you still owe the record company, essentially.
Well, record sales
They pays for that, but
paid that back. The album went platinum, and they got all their money.
They got their money back pretty quick.
Went platinum.
Yeah, and I suppose if we were ever asked to audit them, be pretty certain that it went double platinum.
Really?
Wow.
But it ran out of momentum.
Yeah.
I think it sold. This country's platinum doesn't mean that much, to be honest. At the time, gold was like 70,000, platinum's double that, 104. No, gold's 35, platinum was 70, double platinum would be 140, and I think we sold 130,000 albums.
Pretty damn close.
It's 130,000 more than I've ever sold. That's pretty impressive.
So,
Not bad for a bloke who can't play the drums.
Yeah, got by all right, I suppose, didn't I? But yeah,
So what happens on tour? Like when you finished your gig, you've seen the miniseries In Excess? Like Michael Hutchins.
I have not seen that, but I will know what it's all about.
He's got a good idea.
He's got a good idea, I reckon.
Yeah, I was there. I have some good recollections of getting smashingly drunk with Gary Beers, the bass player, at Benny's in Sydney one night. Whew, big night. Dodging the peak hour traffic in the morning. I was exposed to a lot of the drugs and stuff that was going on, of course. But I'd see people popping whatevers and acting like complete fuckwits, and it just never appealed to me, the drug stuff. And allegedly our guitarist used to smoke lots of weed, and then he'd just sit on the couch and don't want to do anything, it just never appealed to me. And Craig and I we'd have beers and party, and so Craig and I were inseparable. We'd share the rooms at the hotels everywhere, and we'd just never drink before gigs. As soon as the curtain went down, out the back, pop the rider, get stuck in, and enjoy the rest of it, and party it up till the rider was gone, and then go back to the hotel or a party or whatever.
Yeah.
The others were into a few weeds just smoking weed as far as I know. Could have been more, allegedly.
Nothing that affected the gigs or anything
Yeah,
like that
well,
as such.
I think it affected Greg in the end. So Greg the guitarist, we got one single out. So I'm backing the train up a bit here.
Yeah.
We got one single out. It's been very successful. Realised our manager can't really handle what's going on.
Yep.
The guy who was working for White Label Records was Neil Bradbury. He was working for Mushroom. There was some sort of exchange that the government was sort of doing. They would pay for education within your industry and stuff. So he managed to con Gudinski and the government to send him to America to study the record labels over there and how they functioned and stuff. And he came back from that and thought, this is all a bit Mickey Mouse, what I've just been doing. I'm leaving the record company. So Kids in the Kitchen, we put forward a film clip for the second single. And we all go to the office, we look at all the storyboard and a bunch of storyboards from different people, about putting this stuff together.
Yep.
We decide, well, we need it. We've got to pick one here right now.
Yep.
So we pick one, and Greg goes, I don't like it. I don't want to do that one. Well, which one do you like? I said, I don't like any of them. And he was studying media stuff, so he kind of had ideas of visuals and stuff.
Okay.
Well, we're doing this one because we've got to get this single out. So B hit the docks in Melbourne to do the shoot at the docks at this time on this day. Sparrowfart in the morning. Start. We get there. Where's Greg?
Oh.
Where's Greg? So by this stage, Greg's been pissed in his ear about how great he was and pumping him up, and he should have this manager. We've taken on Neil Bradbury as a manager because he's come back from America and said, I'm not doing anything, I'll manage you guys. And we thought, this is great, someone who can deal with the record company.
Yeah.
And then his immediate thing was to challenge our record deal and try and get a better one because it was shit what we signed. So that stalled things for a bit. So Greg's got his own... by this stage, we'd had this other guy. Greg said we had to have this guy as a manager prior to that. I'm getting the timeline all fucked up here, but
Yeah.
That's okay.
So we took on Neil as a manager because this other manager ripped us all off. We'd done all these gigs and where's the money, where's the books? And he's just giving us lip service and fucking us around. And Craig just said, you're fucking gone, mate, go. Give us the books. There was no books. Where's our money? See ya. The whole band ripped off thing. But Greg just loved him and decided he was going to be his manager.
Oh, dear.
So we're ringing up, where the fuck is Greg? He's not coming. He doesn't like the storyboard. So we're standing on the docks of Melbourne with a crew waiting to roll.
Holy shit.
Where the fuck is he? And hours and hours go by and we're scratching our ass and like, this is fucked. So the keyboard player, also named Greg, and things were starting to fall apart a bit with this other manager, and I was like, so Greg comes down. He's not coming, and and so by this stage, Craig has just had a gutful. We've been on the phones trying to get him to come down. What's going on? It's like, well, Greg Woodhead comes down and said, he's not coming, doesn't like it. And it's like, well, he can fuck off out of the band. That's it. And you may as well go with him. So we're standing on the docks in Melbourne, the three of us with no guitarist or keyboard player. May as well go home, guys.
Oh, dear.
So the second single has... we just got a guy to stand there and hold a guitar in the end.
So he ended up shooting it?
There was a bit of a recollection. He was in that film clip, but There was a lot of problems over it. That's right. No, we didn't sack him there and then. We did the film clip, and we'd burnt all the money on the film clip that we were allocated.
Yeah.
So the next film clip was in a black studio just dancing around to our song.
Yeah.
The second film clip's just that.
Yeah.
And it was in a studio across the road from the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. So someone went across there and said, "Hey boys, get all you brass guys want to come and be in a film clip." So they came over and danced around on the film clip. But
Yeah.
the film clip was dirt cheap because we'd blown all the money
On the other
one. And again, Greg hated the idea of having to stand there and do this film clip that wasn't up to our standards because his own manager was blowing wind up his ass that we should be doing stadium tours on the back of a single.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is an unworkable situation, and we called it quits, and you may as well go, Greg, and
Yep.
then there were 3. So at that time...
How far in are we here? How many, like, what
we
time frame?
just got our second single out.
Yeah. So we're a year in, or?
Oh, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
18 months or so.
Yeah, okay.
Wiki will tell you when that single came out.
So that album's recorded, but then the second single's released.
recorded.
Ah,
The album had been started,
yes, that's right.
not
Yep.
finished.
Yep. But second single released.
Second single's released.
Yep.
Tours booked in
Right.
to back it.
Australian tour.
East Coast, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
No guitarist. No keyboard player.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So Craig had already been spying out a keyboard player. One phone call, and that was
Sorted.
pretty much sorted.
Okay.
Rang Alistair, and
Yep.
that was pretty sorted. And so then we were sort of having auditions for guitarists, and our manager, in hindsight, doing what he's was supposed to be doing, I suppose, but he put an ad in Duke magazine. It was like half-page ad that we were looking for a guitarist. Must be good looking, must be able to play, must be fashionable, and
Oh my God.
all this just crazy bullshit.
Does this start a lot of questions too when someone advertises for a guitarist in a band that's eating a bit at the time?
Yeah, it was just weird. We were a bit pissed off about it.
Yeah, okay.
So we start having these auditions for all these wannabes,
Yeah.
one after the other of, face palms.
Yep.
I'll get one guy who was sort of okay, and our front of house guy who we just loved him. He was a great guy, and he loved the band, but he was a guitarist and played in a band called, what was his name? Yeah, I forget. But he'd played around Melbourne a bit, a good guitar player,
Yep.
and he was showing this guy auditioning how to play the song.
Oh, God.
And so after him showing this backwards and forwards, and it's like,
The penny dropped.
hang on. Paul, how would you like to play guitar? We've got this tour. You know the songs. Would you play guitar? And he's like, well, it's not my thing, really. But yeah, I'll help you guys out. I'll do the tour. So we did an East Coast tour with a brand new single
Yep.
with Paul Redman on the guitar.
Yep.
And we all loved Paul. It was just the best fun ever.
Yep.
And Paul, join the band. Paul, join the band. I was never that interested.
Okay.
He was a great guy.
Yep.
He passed away last year or year before.
Okay.
He went off and lit to the mines and made his fortune in IT and stuff, and
Yeah, righto.
did well for himself.
Yep.
Had a bad heart. Got
Okay.
him. Anyway, come back, and then the auditions sort of continued on a little bit, and someone put Claude forward, and Claude came into the rehearsal space and just was being Claude, took over and jammed on songs, and it was just a great guitarist, really funky, exactly what we needed.
Yep.
And it's like, you're in.
Yep.
East Coast tour, off we go again.
Wow.
He sort of finished the album off.
Yep.
Half it was with Greg, half it was Claude. Wrote some songs. Probably the best song we wrote was one we're most known for, I suppose, is Current Stand.
Yep.
That was Claude.
Okay.
and Us in the Room, and
Yep.
well-rounded pop song, ballad.
Yep.
So, yeah, he fit right in straight away.
Yep.
So the main part of our existence is really with Claude, even though it was really Greg who was the sort of main influence and songwriter in the early days.
Yeah.
But Greg's got it. Greg was very talented.
Yep.
And they're probably our better songs, I think.
Yeah.
That said, Current Stand, I think, is probably great.
Yeah. Okay. Was it weird having the guy that started the band with you leave?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
Made people
Yeah.
think about what they're doing or where they wanted to be, or
suddenly we're pop stars and not just mates hanging around
Yeah.
jamming on a Sunday.
yeah,
Where
there's a bit of history there with you.
it's a juggernaut of
Yeah,
money and record companies and
changes
tours,
everything.
and everything's changed. And
Yeah, it's a bit more business there now.
I suppose
Yeah.
it's the same as every band, though. Like,
Of course.
most bands
yeah,
don't last that long and don't break.
show me a band that hasn't had its problems. I can only think of one what's still the same band from the 80s, the U2.
Yeah.
Name another one that hasn't had a lineup change of some.
Yeah,
So-
that's right.
yeah. Yes.
Well,
So, did we do a second album?
Yeah,
How'd that go?
no.
No good.
Look, so, we toured and toured and toured. The record company had just released another single out of it. Off you go, tour it again. Here's another single. Go on. So the record company just drove us up and down that coast.
milk that album.
Milked that album. There were 6 singles off it.
Wow.
Just stupid.
These days, what's 2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Lucky if it's 3.
Yeah.
Look, we were put the first single out. What are they? You said that was our top 20. It went Change in Mood went number 9 nationally,
Yeah.
and it was when Countdown were closed over summer, so I didn't get to see it at the end of the show, saying number 9.
Oh, yeah.
And the second single did really well, not quite as good. And then we put out Something You Said that did well. We toured that, and then we started scratching for other. It did okay, and singles were selling well. The album not so much. And then we put out Current Stand, a really well crafted, radio friendly pop song, and it didn't really chart, but it sold a shit ton of albums.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Everyone went, oh shit, this band actually might be worth buying the album, and that's when the album really took off.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So as a single, didn't sell much, but it really pushed the album along. And then I can't even remember what came after that one. They released the other ballad, which was really stupid to put that one out. But anyway, so up and down East Coast, milking this album, milking it. We were working our asses off doing that, and then the album starts waning away and tours waning away, and boys, you need a second album. Let's go. In you go. We haven't really written anything. There was a few songs that we'd sort of had going. They were okay. So, it's okay. There's a couple of songs. And at that time, it's like, the record company want to release it in America, and we need to send you over there to just do a promotional tour for that. And so we get there, and they're always pointing at me being the weak link, which I was. And we land in LA to do this promotional tour, and the manager calls me in and says the band's decided that we're getting another drummer. Thanks, guys.
Out of nowhere.
What
Out of
year is
nowhere.
this?
86.
86. So you've been going for about 3 years together
Yep.
on the one album.
Yep.
As mates who started jamming.
Yep. So I'm
And-
in LA
And wasn't
with nowhere to go.
and the bass player is like one of your best mates at this point.
Yep. So hindsight and talking about it all these years later, Scott had gone over and done his thing with earlier. So we decided we're going over there. He'd gone over with the manager way earlier,
Okay.
like 3 months before.
Right.
And he's going around and doing what he did. He was dating. He took Moon Unit Zappa on a date or two.
Right.
Even like, how the fuck's that happen? So, yeah, right. And the manager had it in for me, I suppose. And the keyboard player got over there as well, and he was always had me in the sights as well. So the manager pulls Claude's father was in LA or over there as well. Claude was not there. So they went, Scott, the band's decided we're going to kick out Bruce. We're going to get this really cool drummer. I can get this guy. He's really great. Oh, if the band's decided that, then okay. You know, there's democracy.
Yeah.
So then he went to Claude and said, the band has decided we're kicking out the Bruce, and we've got this other drummer lined up who'll be really awesome. And then he went to Craig, and after he got the others recruited,
The majority.
said, we're going to kick Bruce out of the band. We're getting at this drummer, and that's what the band's decided. And he's like, well, if that's what the band's decided, okay, done deal.
So how do you feel? You get to LA, you get told by the
I was
manager.
devastated.
Yeah. Did you punch him in the head?
No, I was too busy wondering how the fuck I was going to get home, what I was going to do. You know,
Why did they take you to America then?
that was the only question I asked him. And that was because, you've worked really hard to get to this point. We thought you'd enjoy the holiday.
On your own.
Would have been nice to, and I'm hanging around with these guys. That's the pool, you know, I'm still there. So I would have liked the opportunity to have said, well, I'm not going then. You just pay me out and that'll be fine. What I really should have done, you know, too stupid, a bit thick, I should have just said, right, let's get the band here. Let's have another band meeting in front of my face.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this.
Yeah, they would have all started dropping like flies.
So what happens in that regards? I mean, like, you're all contracted to you're part of that band. What happens? Do you get paid out? Do you get...
I got nothing. See you later.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have punched him in the head.
I would have punched him in the head, yeah.
I harboured a lot of anger. For a long time, I blamed Scott in my head, and it may not have been true. And when we got back together for our reformation, I had it out with Scott a bit, and you know, reconciled and all that, to discover it wasn't really him.
Yeah.
But in my mind, and my mum's mind,
At the time.
you know, we all blamed Scott because he was probably an easy target too.
Yeah. So it was the manager.
The manager, and there was a lot of underlyings from the keyboard player allegedly as well.
Okay.
Further down the track,
Yep.
he was making moves to get rid of Craig. That was his downfall. Craig just was like, right,
Yeah.
Scott, Claude, I'm going to sack him.
Yeah.
And then he was out.
Yeah,
And then there were three. So, back to the second album question. There was about 4 or 5 songs recorded with me.
Yep.
Scott was in America by himself, writing with a couple other people. Claude and Alistair were writing together some songs. And so that's all a little bit disjointed, the second album. There's songs that were the original Kids guys, these other songs, and the record company went, beaut, threw it together and put it out.
Yep.
And on the album covers the picture of Craig, Claude and Scott.
Yeah, right.
So you being a part of that second album, do you get royalties for anything for that? You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all wrote together and we all agreed very early that if we all write the songs together, then we all get an equal split.
Yeah.
Alistair came in and we were doing these crappy B-sides, just making all sorts of shit and giving him the credits to get him boosted a bit on that. Not that anyone bought the singles much, but and Claude, the songs that he came in and wrote, credited. It was our manager at the time decided we should be credited as Kids Incorporated. So you'll see some of the songs credited as that.
Oh, okay.
Previous to that, it was all our names.
Yeah.
Written by da 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it was Kids Inc. And then it was split from there. Whether I got any of that split, I don't know. But I still get royalties.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
At least you get something.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in the States for then when all this went down?
I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Mm.
So I was hanging with Craig, avoiding the others.
Was Craig still okay with you? Or was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Craig's always been my mate.
Yeah.
He was mate before the band, still my mate now.
Yeah.
So we were hanging, and then my ticket went Melbourne, LA, New York, back to LA, back to Melbourne. So I was like, no idea what to do, you know. They weren't going to pay my accommodation and everything. I had fuck all money on me.
Yeah.
So I just used the room with them and like, all right, we're going to New York now. And they were doing a gig at this Kit Kat Club or the Cat Club or something as a promotional thing. And they'd rehearsed with this other drummer. Another story there. And they went off and did that gig.
You punched him in the head?
I would have punched someone in the head.
So they went off and were rehearsing and doing that gig, and I was wandering around. And
Does it
they
feel like someone? I'm going to say this. Does it feel like someone was banging your missus? Like
Yeah.
walking? Yeah, like
Totally.
That's the feel, the
Totally.
vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, the same thing, really, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
someone's jumped into your seat.
Yeah. They thought it would be really cool to have a really great black drummer because, you know, Simple Minds did. And so they got this guy, contacts through the record companies or whatever. They got this guy who was amazing. I met him. He's a lovely bloke. Sterling. And I think his stage name was Sterling Silver, which was hilarious. But so they asked him to be in the band because, you know, we're this big band from Australia, come back to Australia. And he was like, yeah, sure. And so he was going to come back. But the manager fucked up the visas and stuff, so he got left back in the States. And he picked up a gig playing with Steve Winwood. So, and then he was poached out of Steve Winwood's band while he was on tour by Madonna.
Oh dear.
So, you know,
He
they
was
were
good.
never going to hold him anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right.
So when you got back to Australia, did they ask you to come back because they had no drama?
no. And I wouldn't have gone back anyway.
No.
I would have told him to fuck off then. So I've gone with them and hung out in the apartment in New York. And there was a girl I knew from the record company. She was up in Miami. Oh, come up here. So I went up there. I just left them and went up to Miami and absolute days just sitting in watching American TV, just completely fucked. Oh, it must have been a ball of fun. And then thought, oh, well. Oh, the ticket went to London after that too, didn't it? And back. So after left Miami, went back to New York and got on the plane to London. And thought, oh, well, I might as well see the parts of the world.
Might as well.
So I might as well. So I got there and so I'm in London, got my suitcase and it's like, oh, a cheap place to stay.
I was going to say, did you sleep on the
So-
streets or?
Where? And I'm like, oh, I know, I'll just go to like a hostelli place,
Yeah,
cheap
backpackers.
backpackers joint, that'll do. So, and it was Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were getting married while I was in London.
Yeah.
So I thought, this is cool. I'm here for a moment in time. I'll go down to and watch the parade. And I get down there and there's 4 million people. You know, you
Yeah.
can't see shit. So I go back to the television, watch it on TV, and then it sort of finishes. Like, cool. Sort of walking distance where I was staying. Go back down to the Buckingham Palace, and Meldrum's doing a cross for Countdown. And I'm in the background going, giving him the forks. And so he's doing this cross live to his cameraman and says, And you'll never guess who's just walked up behind the camera. It's Bruce Curnow from Kids in the Kitchen.
Oh.
And dragged me in and sort of like, so I hear you've left the band. And I'm like, yeah. So what happened? How did that happen? And I go, I just don't want to talk about that now.
Stop.
And then when we moved on,
Put on the spot.
Johnny on the Spot.
Yeah.
That's on one of the countdown shows. You'll probably see it on
Oh,
YouTube.
I'm going to find so many things in the next 2 days.
Yeah.
And then after that, Meldrum said, come back to the hotel. I was like, yeah, okay. I got no money. So
Yeah.
he said he'd shout dinner, so why not?
Beautiful.
We get back to the hotel, and you remember a guy who was like a television morning host on Channel 10, Gordon Elliott?
Name kind of rings a bell. But
Anyway,
yeah.
he was at the hotel, and we ended up going to the bar and got smashed on his ticket. So
Didn't turn out so bad in the
it
end.
was a good day. It was a big day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm at the hostel. Think I'll go on a bit of a holiday. So I decided, I'm just moving on. Just going to go and enjoy being a tourist. So I decided I'm going to send my suitcase home and go and buy a backpack, and I'm just going to backpack around. And I'm going to sleep wherever I land. So it's exactly what I did, and I went to a youth hostel, and I met this guy. I by this stage I could get around London pretty well on the tubes.
Yep.
With your A to Z book you used to buy, and so I go to this youth hostel, and there's this Australian guy goes, they're full, mate. I'm just trying to work out how to get to this other hostel. And I went, oh yeah, no worries, I know how to get around. Come with me. And so me and Ronnie go to this other hostel, and he goes, I'm going to Greece. And we met these other guys. We got on a bus, and I was like, I'll come with you. Just like, I'm going to Greece. Oh, I'll come. So got a bus ticket. Got on a bus 5 days straight. Went to Athens. And Ronnie and I just travelled around with these a couple other guys and hopped around the islands and drank and laid on the beach and swam.
How'd you pay for this alcohol?
I did have a little bit of savings when I left, not enough to be any consequence. I was going to buy a guitar when I was there, so it was that money. That never happened.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, bring, hey mum, hey dad.
Pretty good deal.
I'm in Athens. You wouldn't be able to send money.
Yeah.
So I did that 4 or 5 times.
Good to you,
Mum and Dad came through with the goods, and I spent 6 months just travelling around, sleeping on beaches,
Oh, really?
in parks, on park benches, train stations.
We could make a movie about this.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Shrugged off that I was a has-been rock star, and shrugged that off and just went and
I can picture it now.
with me a Cuba on, looking like an Aussie dickhead. What I did buy in the States was a pair of really cool iguana skin cowboy boots. And I was wearing them around while I was traveling.
swimming
around.
shorts.
Looked like a complete fucking dickhead. Anyway.
It's too good.
So
Mick Dundee.
Mick Dundee, and you know the Munich Beer Fest, Oktoberfest, all those great places. My mates I was with, they were a bit of chuffers, so we went up to Amsterdam, and they enjoyed that. I was more into the Heinekens, though. You know, they just had a ball.
That was 6 months.
6 months of doing that.
Yeah. And then come home.
Come home for Christmas.
And at this stage, you're 26?
24,
24?
23, 24, 23.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
Did you
Do the maths.
Did you have any?
I had no money.
Did you have any inspiration to start another band?
No, I was beaten up. I
You're
thought I'm never going to be in another band.
Yeah, you're done at this
No
stage.
one would ever want me. I was a shit-house player. They'd beaten me up that bad that I thought I could never play in a band again.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't even come home and touch any drums, did you? Done.
Not for years. Done.
What'd you
Really?
I loved working in the studio.
Yeah.
Had the best times in the studio.
do? Yep.
some sort of sorcery. These guys could wave their hands over these consoles and sorcery would happen and music would come out.
Yep.
I wanted to be able to do that.
Yep.
So you went back to Melbourne.
So I went back to Melbourne,
Yeah.
shrug off some jet lag and went straight down to AAV.
Yep.
Went and saw the boss there and said, I want to be a sound engineer.
Yep.
And he's like, well, we don't have any sound engineer jobs. And I went, well, that's okay. I'll make coffees and get lunches for the opportunity.
Yep.
So from pop star to coffee
Wow, man.
maker and lunch getter, gopher. And
Yep.
started working at the studio. And at that time, they were about to expand, and it became Metropolis Audio, and I helped build the studio and
Yeah, okay.
learned the audio engineering stuff.
Yep.
And I was there for 4 or 5 years.
So as fast as the pop band wound up, it came straight back down.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I was under no illusions that it was all real fake right from the start. You know, I was just
yeah.
country boy in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was all great. I never let it get that far into my brain that
Yeah, okay.
I'm now a legend of legends, and nah.
Yeah.
So when this band's over, I'll go and get a job. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go and do something else.
So you didn't do anything for qualifications down at the studio. You just basically worked away there. You ended up getting on the consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I did a lot of assistant engineering.
Yep.
There's a lot of bands I worked with, lots of people,
You would have met.
met way more people
Yep.
that way, and
Yep.
got to know a lot of people. People think that I know everybody, and
Yeah.
obviously I don't, but I know a lot of people of that era.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking to Tomsy, and he was working with Doug Roberts. Well, he was my mate from
Yeah.
the studio. He was one of the other guys that I worked with a lot. I worked with Boom Crash Opera
Yep.
as an assistant on their that album, These Here Are Crazy Times.
Yep.
Paul Kelly, I was assistant on that. I was assistant on and some engineering stuff on Vicar and Linda Bull's album.
Yep.
Lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff.
What was more satisfying for you, actually playing drums to a crowd or sitting there listening to Paul Kelly and doing all that stuff?
You can't compare the two. They're just mutually exclusive. Different stuff.
Yeah.
Different stuff. It's always, recording your own stuff is just so much fun and stuff. And, we thought we were awesome and invented music and everything was brand new and was great. When you're working in a studio recording somebody else's stuff, they're the ones having the fun. You're the one doing the work.
Yeah, okay.
And over time, I found it wasn't that much fun.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't as much fun. And the longest days of your life are when you're working with dickheads who think their music's great and it's shit.
Yeah,
But they're paying, so you got to work.
Yeah. The longest days of your life. And I started to really dislike it. Struggle to get up in the morning. You're working 16-hour days,
Jeez.
7 days a week for years. I was just burnt out.
Yeah.
And I got real pissed off because I don't know whether I should name these ones, but there was a assistant engineer at Platinum Studios. I kind of got moved on. They just stopped putting me on the roster at Metropolis, and I got a full real job at Platinum Studios. So I went to the opposition and was working there for a couple of years. So I was doing pretty well there and working on cooler stuff. And you remember the band Frente?
Yep.
So they were recording there, and they had there was a couple of assistants. One of them was me. They employed me because I knew what I was doing by this stage, and I never kind of broke through to be the main engineer on stuff.
Yep.
It was always just never kind of made it. The guys, it was like bands. The engineers who were doing really well and made it were lucky they weren't good. I found there was a lot of engineers who just didn't know what they were doing at all, just gifted the gab with customers and bands and stuff. And I'd be the one doing all the work, and they're the one making the shit ton of money and getting the cred. And I got really jaded about it.
Yeah.
So Frente come into the studio, and they're working with their producer and the assistant engineer and an air engineer and stuff. And this guy who was the assistant was really pretty fresh, didn't really know a lot, but he was getting there. And they went off and like finished for the day, and they said, "Oh, we've got to do a B-side." And like, "Oh, Phil, you do it." The engineer didn't want to do it, and they did a cover of Bizarre Love Triangle or something. And it was just a quick B-side where you don't put much effort into it.
Yep.
And they put it on a B-side, and it went like it charted in America. And he was given engineering producing credit.
Oh.
This kid who didn't know much at all.
Just, yep.
And I'm like, fuck.
So as much as you were in the right place at the right time when you were
Yeah,
in the band,
like,
you sort of weren't this time.
Fucked. This is fucked. I was just like, it's never going to happen for me being an engineer either.
Yeah.
And at that time, studios were starting to lose money hand over fist because home computers were starting to get serious. Home recording became a viable thing.
Yep.
Record companies were giving advances to new talent, and they were spending it building home studios.
Yep.
There just wasn't the money going around for the studios. And when there was a band had come in, they wouldn't pay for the assistant.
Yep.
So you'd be left as the guy that in the next room that they would call to if something was going wrong. So Platinum was great because they'd always put an assistant on a project, but the money was drying up, and so after a couple of years working there, the owner of the studio decided to sell it, and I'd, for the first time ever, getting a wage, taken a holiday, and like second day into my first ever paid holiday, phone call, "Yeah, I sold the studio, so you're being retrenched." It's like, oh, fuck.
You're going well.
Going well here. Kind of got retrenched out of, or just not, I was never employed. I was only ever casual there. I kind of got dropped off the roster from Metropolis, got retrenched out of Platinum,
Yep.
and then sort of started like trying to get some freelance work. And because I was just not quite got a name for myself as an engineer, I was picking up a couple of things here and there. By this stage, Craig had built his own studio, and I did a bit of work around there. I was getting some freelance assistant work with Simon Polinsky, who was another guy who was lucky, and he was engineer producer of Treaty, that song Treaty, and he won an ARIA award, and so he was getting lots of work, and he was getting me to come in to be his assistant to do most of the work.
Yep.
And I got a bit pissed off about that because he was earning big bucks an hour and I was getting $100 a day, and it's like, that stuff. I was just over it. And so I get retrenched. I ring up mum and dad, saying, "Oh, I've been retrenched." "Oh, what are you doing?" "I don't know. Nothing going on." And Dad says, "Oh, I was watching TV, and Vic TV were looking for an audio operator in Shepparton." I'm like, "Okay. Now you know where this is going, don't you?"
Yep.
And so I rang up the studio here in Shep and said, I only got as far as the receptionist. I said, "Oh, I hear you're looking for an audio operator, and I'd like to apply. My dad's told me about this. Is there is the application's closed? Where are we at?" "Oh, I don't know. Just send in your application." So I've never done a CV before, so it took me a day or two. So I posted that in, back when post was a thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And about 3 weeks later, I get a letter, or a couple of weeks later, get a letter. The position had already been filled, but we'll keep your resume on file. And about a week after that, the production manager rings me and says, we put on a guy because we just needed someone now. And I got your resume and I thought, shit,
Yeah.
I should have waited. So the reality is I want you to come in and up and we'll interview you. But we've got this other guy we've employed and I'm going to have to put him off. He's just not cutting it. So do you reckon you can do the job? And I'm like, oh, probably. So next day I'm coming up to Shep. I was living out at Cranbourne by this stage. Just got married. And we, arrived up in Shepparton, had an interview, and he said, oh, the guy I've got to put up, he doesn't know yet. So what I'm going to do is I'll take you into the audio room and I'm going to get the receptionist to page me that I got a phone call and leave you there to have a look. So Dennis gets paged. I'm standing there and this guy I know is getting the bullet. I'm looking at the gear going, yeah, I can do this. Piss easy. Is that all it is? Righto, no worries.
Yeah.
So Dennis comes back. Righto, comes back. What do you think? I said, yeah, he's making this mistake, and I can see what he's doing wrong, and I can do this job. And so I started the following Monday.
Yep.
Really?
My wife Michelle's father was a dairy farmer at Waiai, the other side of Waiai, so
Close enough.
I just ring him up. I'm coming to stay at your place while I find out what I'm going to do here, and I'm on trial for this job. So stayed up there and I did this job, and I found they were at that time. So this is 95 now.
Yep.
End of 94.
Yeah.
They're putting out all their Christmas commercials, and we're making 30 plus commercials a day. I started the 18th of November, and imagine all these Christmas, and I'm trying to learn how TV works. I've done a little bit of TV stuff, but not like this. But basically, you pick a 30-second jingle off a CD, do the voiceover, put the two together, and send it to the editors to do their thing. So this is just too easy after what I've been doing with the full bands and stuff. So I'm sitting there drinking coffee with my feet on the desk. Easy, piss easy job. Yep. So, you might not like this commercial, but it's only 30 seconds long. Then you're on to something else. Not like doing a song that takes you a day.
Yeah.
And I'm getting paid okay money, and I'm working from 8 till 5. How good's this? So, I moved to Shep. Yeah. After the day my 3 months were up, I was like, so am I employed now full time? Yep. So started looking to buy a house, and bought a house at Arcadia. Wife moved up and we started to breed.
I love it.
All right. So you moved up, started to breed. That's fantastic. How much did you breed?
We have 4 kids.
4 kids. Look out.
He didn't have a TV when he bought the house.
Couldn't afford the TV.
I had a TV.
How long did you stay there for that job?
At Win TV?
Yeah.
I was there probably 5 years, and it was easy job. By this stage, again, technology's taken over. We're running tape machines and videotape, 1-inch videotape, and the recording side of it, I had a 1/4-inch 2-track machine and a 1/2-inch 8-track machine. And I'd sorted out how to use that and get it to work because it wasn't plugged in right and all that stuff. So it was my own little space, but digital editing sort of came along, and video editing very limiting on tape. Sort of started losing all the jobs. The salespeople weren't very good at selling. The studio just went downhill. Yeah. By this stage, there wasn't enough commercials being done and not a lot of work. But I'd shown interest in the video side of things, so I became the video editor, learned how to shoot with the camera.
Yeah.
And so by the time Win TV got round, like 5 years later, I was doing everything, writing the commercials, shooting them, video editing, doing the audio, everything. But they were pretty country commercials, pretty crap stuff. And doing all the graphics over, and they want to make a change, you got to redo everything and that stuff. And then Win TV basically turned around and said, you're being retrenched because we're going to farm out all the video editing to a place that does digital editing, and so thanks very much, goodbye.
Got the handshake.
And I'm like, retrenched again.
He's had a few handshakes, this bloke.
Retrenched again.
Did you get a payout this time?
I did get a little payout.
Good stuff.
So I got a couple of weeks' pay per the year and stuff.
Yep.
And so now I've got children and a mortgage, and life's more serious now. And so, got a job doing clean down at SPC, 3 till 7.
Done that before.
Just to get by, and was very thankful for that. And sort of did that till the end of the season. And I got a phone call from the news department of Win TV, and you're interested in doing a news camera job? And my immediate reaction was, no, fuck off.
Thought, geez, I got to put food on the table.
A week later, I was like, look at all these bills. Ring up Piercy again. Hey, Piercy, about that news camera job, tell me more. He's like, I want to employ you and I want you to be the senior cameraman. I'm like, but that's not going to go down very well with the guys that are already there. But, I can make that happen. And I said, okay, well, have I got the job? And he said, we've got to interview you. And I'm like, nah, you know what I can do. I'm not doing that. And he said, I have to interview you. You've got to come into the building. And I was like, nah. I could not think of anything more humiliating in my life to come be interviewed after you've interviewed a bunch of other people and not get this job after I've been retrenched from the business. So you tell me now if I'm coming in for an interview or I'm not, because I'm not coming in unless you give me the job. I'm going to give you the job. I can't tell you that now, but come in for an interview. It's like, okay. So I came in for an interview and I was employed and I did news camera for a couple of years. Fast forward that couple of years.
Yeah.
We were editing on SP Betacam that went down to just Betacam because Win TV just take all the good gear from anywhere and not a great company with that stuff. And they basically put some new gear in Ballarat. We were making the whole 30-minute news bulletin and playing it out of here, ads and everything.
Yeah.
So got to 6 o'clock, we'd change over the link to be transmitting out of Mount Major here, and then hit play and swap channels, and it would play out 30 minutes, hit off air and switch it back to the Ballarat, and 30-minute show out of off our tape machine, editing it that way. They bought some new gear and they put in a digital server, so we would just send our stories down and walk out as soon as we'd finished our jobs for the day at like 5 o'clock. Great.
Yep.
Awesome. Comes around to Christmas time and we had 3 journos, 3 cameramen, and they said, right, 2 journos, 2 cameramen are going to take holidays. We're going to rotate. Everyone gets 2 weeks off over this month cycle. And for that period of, I think it was 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Everyone gets 2 weeks off. The other weeks get 1 journo, 1 cameraman. So I'm looking at the news bulletin and they're pinching a story from Albury, pinching a story from Traralgon, one from Bendigo, one from Mildura, one from Ballarat, and the couple that we would do and put the news bulletin together, and I'm looking at it going, no one's going to notice the difference here. If Win TV can put on this with one journo, one cameraman, I was the last on. I'm going to be first off here. I reckon I'm going to get retrenched again. And I've been retrenched too many times for that shit to happen to Brucey again.
His hand tied behind his back. You're not shaking it.
So I thought, I've got to be in charge of my own destiny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't get retrenched if you're the owner.
Yeah, so I start looking around for things I can do that I'm in charge of my own destiny. So looked at a few different businesses and things around, and then the music shop was for sale. I'm like, oh, I can do that.
That kind of
That's
makes
me,
sense,
yeah.
doesn't it?
I can do that. My wife has had a diploma of business accounting.
Yeah.
She can do the books.
Good
I can
teamwork.
do this could work. So we bought the music shop and built it up slowly over a period of years.
What was it called back then?
Shear Music. Max Shear owned that business, and he'd had a gutful, and I think must have shepherded and had a gutful of him.
Yep.
And you would know more about that than me, Ben.
I know enough.
And so we took over the business on July 1st, 2002. So do the maths.
You've just done 20.
20 years.
Nice.
It's pretty
I
impressive.
thought I'd get 5 years and then reassess myself.
Yeah.
Retrench yourself.
Yeah, retrench myself. So I'm still there after 20 years.
Nice.
It's a fair effort, mate.
That's great.
Something to be pretty proud of, that 20 years in business.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, you know, Auntie, well, how much work and
it's a
effort,
lot of effort.
and time and
Yeah.
a lot of lean years where there was quite a lot of music shops in this town,
Yeah.
and I was only the fledgling one.
Yeah.
Too stupid to pack it in before everyone else, and everyone else is gone now, and I ended up with the monopoly.
Yeah.
So
Same building? You're in the same building
Yep.
you've always been?
Yep.
Yep.
Carpet's threadbare and it's falling around full of white ants and
It's called the Little Music Shop now, isn't it?
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. What's the address?
83 Wyndham Street, Shepparton.
Make sure you get down there to get your gear.
That's awesome.
Bruce, what an unbelievable career. What a whirlwind in those early days.
And started playing bands around Shep, of course.
Oh, yeah, you do now too. So who do you play with now?
I've played with a couple of bands early on the piece. One of the guys who was working at Win TV was sort of like, oh, we should be in a band. And I'm like, okay.
Did you say I've never played in a band before?
No.
He knew.
It was
who
on
you
my
were.
CV. Everyone knew.
Yeah,
The
okay.
whole bloody world. It might have been on the news bulletin or something. I don't know. By the
That's
time I
funny.
moved there. But anyway, we started a little 3-piece band just for a bit of fun. Did a few gigs. And that was going all right. It was okay. I was still learning to play again. It was terrible. Still trying to get my chops back up after all the years. Not playing at all, not holding sticks
Yeah.
from 1986 to 90. What was it, 94, 5? It'd be at the end of 95.
Talking
Yeah.
like 10 years.
So
It's pretty crazy.
It's
Isn't it?
unreal.
was that band sort of saw its course end, and another guy had come to work at Win TV who was from Townsville, and he played bass, and I had been playing with Shane who played guitar, and so we started a band with sort of side project from the other one, and it just went better. And Shane turned out to be a really great singer and bass player, and so when we got retrenched, he was also retrenched, and he went back to Townsville.
Okay.
We got asked to play with these two girls, and that's when we needed a bass player, and that's when I met you, Ben. Shane went back to Townsville, and we had gigs, and the girls rang you. Can you help us out and fill us in?
Did you two play in the band together?
And so you played a couple of gigs to help us out.
Jesus Christ. I must have been on something good because I don't even remember that.
You played gigs with us under the name Pout with
Yeah, it's
Julie
vague.
Moran and and Linda Morland.
It's very vague.
So what we were talking
Linda
about-
left, and it was just Julie, Shane, and myself.
That's right.
And then you played a couple of fill-in gigs, and we asked you to join, and You said, nah, I'm not playing with them in my soul. So
I probably
you said no.
You must have been smoking the hoochie back then, bro.
I was very disappointed because he's a really good bass player, really.
No,
He did a smashing job.
3 chords.
He was great.
3 or 4 chords.
He's pretty much like you. Nah, I couldn't play. Couldn't play.
Didn't want to play with
Keep it simple.
us cover band.
Yeah.
No, I remember being asked.
You'd finished with Adam and Baldman Chuck or whatever it was.
I've been asked heaps of times to play again and just went.
You were over it.
I was burnt out.
You were burnt out and didn't want to do it.
And this is probably got nothing to do with Bruce's story, but the reason why I ended up finishing playing is I actually ended up with chronic fatigue and just couldn't do the hours.
Yeah.
So between having a full-time job and then trying to do that on the weekends,
Make up stories.
I was smoked.
Just didn't want to play with Bruce.
Yeah, that'd be it.
So, anyway.
So who are you with now?
So that band, Julie decided she didn't want to do it anymore. That was okay. So that's all right. We're all old bastards. We'll just get a new unit up the front to warble and dance. That's fine. So we got another girl and she was fine, and then she moved to Melbourne, and so then we got another unit to
band
come
stuff.
up. Band stuff.
Come and go.
And she got married and got pregnant, and then Rob and I were basically doing nothing, and Nigel Parsons said, came into the shop one day. I've, as usual, he does double bookings and messes things up as usual. And I said I would get a band and play for this benefit gig at the high school. We only have to play a couple of songs. You wouldn't be able to do it, would you? It's like, sure. So we did 2 songs with him, and it was fantastic. And they had a real rundown on the night, and Nige just turned around and said, "Do you know Jesse's girl? Dee? Righto." And we played an extra song, and the people running the show were a bit pissed off. We stole another song out of it, but it was really good. Yeah. Nigel's a fabulous musician, singer, player, songwriter, all of that stuff. And he said, after that, "You guys interested in doing something?" It's like, shit, yeah. So that's how this band came about.
Yeah, okay.
And they thought it'd be hilarious to name the band Current Stand after the song, Kids in a Kitchen song. And I thought, you fucking tools. Whatever, I don't give a shit, Yeah. So they named our band after one of our songs, and it's caused all sorts of frigging headaches since when the band reformed. Kids in a Kitchen reforms. Yeah. All the files and backing tracks and stuff. I've got Current Stand backing tracks, and I've got Current Stand backing track, and it's just a.
So you mentioned that you reformed. That was 2016.
2016. So the longest.
Are you still pissed off here, or you?
It's 20 years later.
The ring out of nowhere.
So the longest story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've created animosity in my head towards Scott, but out of the blue, I get an invitation to his 50th birthday. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
This is someone I haven't spoken to in decades.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. What? And I ring up Craig and I go, what the fuck? Did you get invited to his birthday? He goes, yeah, I'm not fucking going. I go, well, I felt the same way. What the fuck is this? This is bizarre. And I said to Craig, you know what? Something in the back of my mind just wants to go and have a look. I just
want to wreck his
go to
night.
his house and I want to wreck his night. And I'm like, I tell you what, Craig, I'll drive because I've got to drive. I'll pick you up. You get a few beers, hook in, we'll get there, and we'll just make assholes of ourselves. We'll throw food and just be pricks, just 'cause. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll do that. So he rings up Claude. Yeah, Claude's in for that. So, beauty. I'm going to go down and I'm going to be a complete asshole. So I get down there And, first person I speak to walking through the door is Sean Kelly from the Models. And Mannix is there because they're been partners for a while and doing gigs, and see all these other people that I know and I'm having a bit of a chat to them, and I'm like, oh, they're actually pretty cool. It's all right. And there's food on the table. I'm thinking, right, time's now. I'm going to start throwing food, make a prick of myself. And at that very moment, I decide, right, time to switch it up. Out of the crowd steps Greg Evans. Greg Evans has become a celebrant, and they have an impromptu wedding. He marries his longtime partner, and I'm there going, oh, fuck. I can't be an arsehole at his wedding. This is not right. And then I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm going to go home and people say, what'd you do on the weekend? Oh, I went to Scott Cahn's wedding, and they'll think I'm his mate. So the wedding turns out to be okay, and I'm talking to lots of people and I'm meeting some others, and he's got a bit of a shared band room out the back, and I walk down there and there's the guys jamming and Scott's there and Craig's there, and suddenly you want to play drums? Oh, okay, I'll get on the drums, and Claude grabs the guitar and Craig's standing there, and everyone comes running out of the house with their cameras and shit. The band's back together, and it's like,
oh no.
It's like, I played a couple of songs, and yeah, I got off from there. Yeah, great. And Scott's like, would you be interested in reforming for a couple of gigs? There might be some money in it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And true to his word, he got us a gig, and so.
Hang on, you still hate him here though?
Sort of like, yeah, okay, I'm over it. I've grown up. I've got a business. I'm too busy.
You haven't. You haven't grown up. You're going to throw food at his 50th.
I was going to. I better be. I'll be more civil. I'll take the higher road. No. So it's like, oh yeah, whatever. So anyway, next thing I know, he's ringing up. So do you want to do a gig? There's this Solid Gold hits, classic hits thing that's through Gold FM in Melbourne. They have this concert at the Palais. We're going to go on with all these other bands. We only got to play 2 songs, and you're going to get paid. I'm like, okay, sure. And so 3,000 people. We'd done a couple of rehearsals, put together, got some backing tracks, got that organised, and step out there, and I was friggin' nervous. Jesus Christ. I sat behind the drum kit and my right leg was shaking. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is shitting bricks. And I went, no, I know how to play these songs. I'm okay. I'm good. I've got my chops up. Yep. After playing covers around Melbourne, around Shepparton for a few years. I'm all right. I played more than these guys. I'm okay. So we did those 2 songs and blew the doors off the place, and we were told on the reviews that we were the highlight of the day.
Really? Nice.
And out of that, we got another one of those type gigs, and we're flying up to do Bribey Island and playing 4 songs, and we did a couple more of those sorts of things. And and then it was like, do you want to do a full gig? And I was like, and then somehow or other, he wrangled, Scott's been doing his own entertainment management company. So give him credit. Yep. He's learned how to do that. He got the Culture Club support, and we did all the stadiums and shit up around Australia for that tour in 2016. So we did a couple of shows of those playing 2 songs, and then we're doing Culture Club support.
How was that? They thought the biggest crowds you've been to, or?
Sure. So we started in Adelaide at the entertainment centre to a couple of thousand people. Went to Perth to some stadium, I don't know. It was a couple of thousand people. And back to Melbourne and did Rod Laver Arena to about 20,000 people or something.
We're getting big now.
How old are you now? 2016?
Oh,
Stab in the dark?
stab in the dark. 54, 5.
And how old are your kids about now?
Now,
No, about that time, 2016.
I don't know. Will would have been 6. What's he? 20. He's 26. So
Say 20.
20.
This is the bit
18.
this is the bit I love.
20, 18, 16,
Yep.
and
My dad's
12.
pop star.
You got teenage kids and into early 20s, but
who don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
No.
They think it's all a joke.
Dad's going to play at Rod Laver
So
in front of 20,000.
I requested their presence for that one. This is what Dad used to do.
And how'd that go down?
And so they got to stand side stage
Yeah.
and watch Culture Club and me do my thing.
Was that a buzz?
And that was a major buzz. And I got way more brownie points on that tour.
Yep.
The Melbourne show, Danny Minogue played.
Yeah.
And so I taking my daughter to where the toilets were or something, and in the hallway is Meldrum talking to Danny Minogue, and I pull up and say, hi to Meldrum, how you going? And Danny Minogue standing there, and my daughter was just standing there vibrating with excitement.
That's unreal.
So I got some brownie points,
Yeah.
but unfortunately brownie points don't accumulate at our house. So,
That's unreal.
so that and it was a turning point for my wife probably too.
Okay.
She was like, "What the fuck you want to do that for?" When it first came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those arseholes treated you like shit. Why do you want to
Yeah.
do that? I'm like, because they're my mates. They're not your fucking mates.
Yeah.
Well, they are.
It's hard, isn't it?
It was sort of hard to go and do it.
Yeah.
But glad I did.
Yep.
And reconciliation with Scott and
Yep.
the band, and now we've been reformed longer than we were together before the first time. COVID had a bit to do with that.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet the boy?
I did not. He's
Really?
quite the reclusive
Yeah,
guy,
okay.
but Craig said he turned around and he was side staged in incognito one of our shows. I think it was the Melbourne show, and we heard on the grapevine that he really liked us. At the end of the tour, it was at Brisbane, and Claude went and saw him and got photos with him and stuff, but I never got those photos with him, but I got photos with the other band members.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah, it would have been.
It's good. There's 2 nights at the Horden, Rod Laver Arena, the sound stage in the Botanical Gardens of Brisbane. So that
Yeah.
ticks a few
Bloody
bucket
oath.
lists.
Gonna
Yeah.
do it. Is it going to happen again?
No,
That's it. It's done.
done.
Yeah,
That-
okay.
So we've been playing around, trying to get back on a roster with Premier Harbour. Scott's big plan to do that. June this year we played Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and 4th was Bannockburn Hotel out of Geelong there, and the Curnow Hotel on the Saturday night in Melbourne. That was pretty good. We're playing first weekend of October in Melbourne at Friday night at Musicland Faulkner, whatever it's called.
So we're still going.
We're still going.
We're still going.
I've got a gig that night, and the following night at Lucky 13 Garage in Moorabbin. So I've got a couple of gigs coming up.
Yeah, okay. Got any roadies? Since you're going to Geelong?
No.
Tip the truck on its head.
No. Well, the worst part now is I've got to set up my own kit.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't
Yeah,
it?
when I was a rock star, I had roadies to set it up. And
Don't you know who I am?
I'd go and sit on the kit and go, "Oh, come here! You didn't put that symbol there. It's got to go there. And this symbol, it's like 1 centimetre that way. What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well,
I wasn't like that at all.
no.
But I now have to cut all my own gear and set it up and pull it down.
Yeah. Tough life, isn't it?
Tough life.
Tough life.
But I'm used to it now, playing all these gigs around Shout. I own the PA and I've got to set all that shit up
You
too.
gotta set it all up.
And card it. And
Yeah.
so do a 3-hour show. It's to go and play an hour show with kids in the kitchen is a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even getting warm by the time the end of the show.
Yeah, okay.
I'm playing this Thursday. That's
What a
Mate,
what an unbelievable career.
I'm blown away.
Yeah, same.
That's
Well,
unreal.
it's an awesome career. It's
it's not a, it's obviously been really lucky and fortunate for the things I've been able to do. Lucky, not good, like I said. But you think of someone like a Barnesy, all his stories, and I'm just a drop in the ocean to someone like that, for example.
but-
All
Yeah.
those,
it's still a great career.
no one remembers the drummer, mate. It's just
It's a great story as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
that's right.
Just in general.
It is an awesome story, and it's your story.
Yeah, I love it.
Speaking of no one remembers the drummer, there's a little drummer, Tommy Lee Jones, mate. Everyone remembers him.
Oh, I think there
Yeah,
might be other
infamous.
reasons for that.
there's an infamous video that people remember him for.
If you,
I didn't even know his name till that came out.
just if you have your time again, there's just something else you need to do.
Well, Bruce, unbelievable career. I think it's fantastic. What a great story. Now, we always end our podcast with 3 questions. You've listened to a couple of them,
I did.
so you probably know what the 3 questions are. I hope you come prepared, because you have to make sure you say
Yes,
them. So,
I thought about that when I watched those first couple of yours, and I haven't thought about it since. Okay. Hit me.
first question, what was your first car?
HQ Holden wagon. It was a factory-fitted 4-speed with bucket seats, 202, and it had the Monaro rims on it, whatever they were called. And I thought it was bloody great. And I flogged the living shit out of that thing. Only broke 2 axles in it. Once with the all the band gear in the back of it, going up a hill, those things used to break axles.
Yeah.
And the next time, just giving it the berries. I had that car for about 7 years. My first car, I loved it. It wasn't very cool, and it qualifies as shit car of Australia on that Facebook page that I follow.
It's pretty cool
My second, it was still a shit box. If it had a V8, it would have been a whole lot of better
Yeah,
car.
that's right.
But my second car was way cooler. It was a VH Commodore with a 253 in it, a sedan. Had mags on it, lowered. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
That was a good car.
Yeah.
Then I came up here and bred and had to sell it and buy another station wagon. I've had wagons and people movers ever since.
Well, that's what happens when you have 4 kids, mate. So
Yeah, I know, right?
that's your fault. What's your favourite food?
Lamb roast.
Lamb roast. Slow cooked or just in the oven?
Yeah, oven lamb roast. Just love lamb roast.
Okay, cool.
Although we had sausages last night for the first time in a long time, and my daughter doesn't like sausages, so she wasn't around last night, so we had sausages, and they were bloody delicious.
Really?
Yeah, sausages, mashed peas, carrots.
Last one. If you can invite 3 people to dinner.
3?
3 people
I
to
thought
dinner.
it was 2.
No, 3 people to dinner, dead or alive, any era.
I
Who
got
would it
asked
be?
this once before, and I said Nikolai Tesla. I think he would be an interesting study.
Yeah. Do you know who that is, Ben?
Am I going off the last name here? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikolai Tesla is credited now. He was discredited at the time of being the modern inventor of electrics and electronics and power and how to transmit power. And he invented a lot of stuff and was basically discredited, but would be real interesting.
There'd
He
be a
was
story there. Number 2?
Number 2. Oh, look, I think I've never met Miff Warhurst, and I love Spicks and Specs, and I reckon
okay.
she's fantastic.
It's an interesting one.
That's different.
And, lots of stories to be had.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought she'd be a really interesting person to meet and chat to. And she was from Irimple. Her parents used to live up in St. Razor there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So, sort of
Area.
vague connection. My mum knew that her mum as a teacher.
Okay.
Number 3.
Yeah, now I've run out of stuff, haven't I? Who would I like to go to?
He's met so many people anyway, so.
Let's be a wanker and say Bowie.
That'd be different.
Yeah. I met Jagger, so I can't say him.
Well, there's
Jagger
3.
came to the studio when I was working at Metropolis and I was helping her in the studio that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That would have been interesting. Or did he just spit on you and keep walking?
Yeah, I was probably just a shadow in his peripheral for
Yeah.
But real interesting, come in, said what he wanted, how he wanted it, why he wanted it. He was here doing a solo tour, and they were just doing a bit of a demo. And
yeah, okay.
I used to do a lot of the outside broadcast recordings stuff, and they were doing that live at the corner. And they had Simon Phillips playing drums, and I was impressed with him. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know whether I want to go to dinner with him, or Bowie for that matter. I don't know. It's never going to happen, so I can say it, can't I?
Pretty good.
I don't know. It's a tough one.
That'll do. You've got your 3.
You got 3. Better than Ben can come up with. He
I
can't
can't
come up with 3.
any.
So.
I'm no good.
What's your favourite food?
Too many things.
Too many things,
No,
yeah.
Don't have favourites of anything, mate. I'm an open book.
I'm just a little country boy, like my sausages and lamb roasts and...
Very good.
Mate.
Bruce,
Sometimes.
what a great story. Fantastic. Thank you for coming in and sharing it with us.
I've got to
It's been
talk about
great.
my favourite subject.
Yeah.
Me.
That's everyone's favourite subject.
Have you become a
is that,
singer?
No. Look, I don't talk about it much, but unless someone wants me
great.
to.
No,
Yeah.
very appreciative.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So,
Yep.
just before we go, season 2 of Two Blokes from Down Under is brought to us by Ken Muston Automotive. For all your motoring needs, pop down and see the team for Isuzu Ute, Ram Trucks, MG, Jeep, Subaru, and Mercedes-Benz. That's Ken Muston Automotive, 215 Benalla Road, Shepparton. And this episode's brought to us by Carpet Court Shepparton. For all your flooring needs, make sure you get down and see Murray on the team at 7946 Melbourne Road, Shepparton. That's Carpet Court Shepparton, where they do all the hard work to make your decisions easy. Thanks, Bruce. Much appreciated.
Thanks,
No
mate.
problem.
So there you go, Ben. What a you haven't got a mention in this because you played in a couple of gigs. That's fantastic. Can't even remember it because you're smoking too much hoochie. It's, that's
Allegedly.
awesome. Allegedly. So there you go, gang. Another episode of Two Blokes from Down Under. Thanks for listening, watching. That's we appreciate all your support. Can't wait till the next one. See you around.
Ciao.
Bye.
Gotta show him I can still rap though. Now I'm in the game, I was on the bench. First I was renting, now I'm collecting rent. First it with the Beamer, now I want the Benz. Spending all the bag like here I go again.